Chapter 269, Encounter in the Forest, the Elegant White Tiger 4. Oh. Everyone nodded to show that they understood. Lass. Let's keep going. Old Zao urged expectantly. After they dug up all the crystals, the mischievous path appeared again. Okay. Lung Ruoxua looked at everyone's expectant expressions. With great anticipation and curiosity, everyone continued forward. But they stopped again before long. Schwer, is this the Real Forest? How can the scenes earlier compare to this? Lung Qingtian looked at the gigantic trees that towered into the clouds, and each of them required at least 100 people to surround. He was speechless. Wasn't this a little too exaggerated? What we saw previously can only be regarded as the periphery. Lung Ruoxua guessed. The original path in front of them had split into 3 forks. She didn't know which one to take. Girl, you have to choose carefully. You will encounter different things on each path. Moreover, this is the last place in this forest. After you clear this place, you'll encounter more danger outside, Butterfly explained. Do you mean that all 3 paths are safe? Lung Ruoxua looked at Butterfly. Like I said, the first stage is safe. Of course, it includes this place. But I'm not too sure what's on these 3 paths. But there's definitely no danger, Butterfly said with certainty. What do you guys think? Lung Ruoxua turned to look at Lung Qingtian and the others. Since there's no danger, why don't we split up so that we don't miss anything good? Old Man suggested. Butterfly, is this okay? Lung Ruoxua asked uncertainly. Probably, Butterfly said after some thought. Lung Ruoxua turned to look at everyone and said, Grandpa, you split into 2 groups. I can go alone. All right, Schwer. Be careful. Lung Qingtian said worriedly. Lung Ruoxua turned her head and ordered Butterfly. Okay, Butterfly, go with Big Brother. Okay then. Handsome Big Brother, I'll follow you for now. Butterfly fluttered its wings and flew in front of Lung Ruhan. After forming the groups, they each chose a path and walked in. Let's go too. Lung Ruoxua walked toward the last path with the little mink in her arms and Ball on her shoulder. As soon as she entered, she saw another patch of herbs. Lung Ruoxua let her beasts out to help her pick them without hesitation. Big sister, I can help, said Ball, who was resting on Lung Ruoxua's shoulder. Have a good rest. We can do it. Lung Ruoxua couldn't bear to continue enslaving this little thing, so she spoke to console it. At this moment, Charm, Fengzhan, and the other divine beasts had all transformed into human form. They squatted on the ground and focused on picking herbs. The silver wolves used their claws to dig carefully at the ground, and then slowly dug out the herbs. The large number of herbs was quickly gathered with the coordination of the beasts. Lung Ruoxua sent the other beasts back into the bracelet, leaving only Fengzhan and Charm outside. Master, shall we set off? Charm's beautiful purple eyes looked at Lung Ruoxua. Treasure, I like it. Ball suddenly jumped into Charm's arms and refused to leave. Lung Ruoxua's face darkened as she looked at the lecherous Ball. Is Ball female? But she had to agree with Ball's taste. Charm in human form was indeed a rare top-grade beautiful man. A layer of black covered Charm's handsome face as he looked at the little fur ball on his chest. Without even thinking about it, Charm transformed back into his small snow-white fox form and hopped onto Lung Ruoxua's shoulder. Oh, where's my treasure? Ball found that its treasure had suddenly disappeared and was spinning around anxiously. Master, he's male, Charm explained helplessly, understanding Lung Ruoxua's thoughts. Lung Ruoxua was embarrassed. So this little thing is male. But why did he only act this way when he saw Charm? My brother isn't inferior to Charm. And Fengzhan is comparable to Charm in terms of appearance alone. I don't know. Charm was also puzzled. He had no idea why the little thing was sticking to him. Ball, come here, Lung Ruoxua called softly. Big sister, my treasure is missing, Ball said aggrievely while lying on Lung Ruoxua's other shoulder, his big black eyes brimming with tears. Ball, why do you call him a treasure? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. He has the smell of a treasure on him. It's very, very fragrant, Ball said with yearning. Charm, did you eat something? Lung Ruoxua asked suspiciously. Seems like Ball wasn't being perverted. No. Is it because of the jade elixir? Charm carefully recalled that he hadn't eaten anything. He had only taken a sip of the jade elixir before coming out. Probably. Lung Ruoxua nodded. Jade elixir was born from heaven and earth, and it was incomparably precious, so it would indeed be considered a treasure. With this in mind, Lung Ruoxua took out a small amount of jade elixir and gave it to Ball. Ah, treasure. Ball hugged the jade bottle excitedly, and his chubby little round body shook nonstop. Let's go, Lung Ruoxua said with a knowing smile. Lung Ruoxua and Fengzhan walked side by side. After walking for a while, they found that the scenery in front of them had changed. Master, this place seems to be an illusion. You have to be careful, Fengzhan reminded. Okay. Lung Ruoxua nodded. She could also feel it, but she didn't know what kind of illusion this place was. The two continued walking forward. Along the way, they encountered many cute little animals, but they ignored them and just walked forward while looking for the eye of the array. Ha! Why is a flower growing on the tree? Lung Ruoxua was puzzled. It was all too strange that a coquettish red flower appeared out of thin air on the bare tree trunk. Chapter 270. Encounter in the Forest, the Elegant White Tiger, 5. Lung Ruoxua approached the flower, and was about to pick it when she clearly felt the flower trembling slightly, as though it was afraid of something. What's going on? Master, let me do it. Fengzhan pulled out the palm-sized red flower, just as Lung Ruoxia's hand was about to pick the flower. Let go of me. Let go of me. You bad person. The flower struggled violently in Fengzhan's hand and spoke in human language. The illusion disappeared. Lung Ruoxua looked at the forest that had returned to normal. So it really was this flower making a fuss. You're obviously the one who wants to harm us. Is the pot calling the kettle black? Fengzhan said somewhat angrily and deliberately released a bit of might. I didn't want to harm you. I was just afraid of being discovered by you. Boo-hoo. The flower actually began to sob as it spoke. You didn't harm us? Then why did you set up the illusion? Lung Ruoxua questioned coldly. Fortunately, they hadn't fallen for it. Wouldn't it be dangerous if it was someone else? Thinking of this, she couldn't help feeling a little angry. This illusion is only to protect me, not to harm others. Really, you have to believe me. Boo-hoo, the red flower explained while sobbing. You better make yourself clear, or else I'll turn you into a dried flower and make tea out of you, Lung Ruoxua threatened. According to the rules of the mystic realm, you have to take something from here before you can continue forward. And the only thing you can take to pass this trial is me. But I don't want to leave this place, so I used my doppelganger technique to manifest some cute little animals. I hoped you could take any one of them. That way, I'd be safe. Boo-hoo, the flower explained carefully. Humph. You might be safe, but can we find the way? Lung Ruoxua snorted in displeasure. Yes, you can go out. Those animals all have my aura on them. The flower quickly said and stole a timid glance at Lung Ruoxua. But you are the best treasure here. Am I right? Lung Ruoxua said thoughtfully. A flower that can use a doppelganger technique and arrange illusions, not bad. She was very satisfied. Yes, but I have high requirements for survival, so I will be dead if I leave this place. Even if you forcefully take me out, I won't be able to live for long. The flower wept, and drops of dew-like tears flowed from its center and onto the ground. Master, if I'm not mistaken, this should be the legendary illusionary flower, the king of the plant spirit beasts, Fengzhan suddenly said. The flower stopped crying and said in surprise, How do you know my name? Plant spirit beast? Lung Ruoxua recalled the introduction of plant spirit beasts that she had once read in a book. In the past, there was a distinction between animal type and plant type spirit beasts. Moreover, the strength of plant spirit beasts was not inferior to that of animal spirit beasts. But tens of thousands of years ago, high-level plant spirit beasts basically became extinct due to the change in the environment. Some plants that still existed today, such as cannibal vines, could only be considered the lowest-level plant spirit beasts. Master, this little flower is very powerful, but it's still underage, Fengzhan continued. Since you know me, then you should know that I can't leave this place. Otherwise, I will definitely die. The flower said pitifully, playing the sympathy card. Of course I know. But I also know that there's a place thousands of times better than here. That place is more suitable for your growth. Feng Zhan enticed with a smile. If this flower could really mature, it would absolutely be a great help to his master. Impossible. My inherited memories tell me that this is the most suitable place for me. The flower refused to be fooled. If you don't believe me, I can bring you in to take a look first, Feng Zhan said without the slightest bit of annoyance. Okay. The flower's curiosity was piqued by Feng Zhan. After receiving Feng Zhan's gaze, Lung Ruoxue sent him and the flower directly into the bracelet. A few seconds later, the flower's exclamation sounded in Lung Ruoxue's mind. Ah, I want to live here. The red flower in the bracelet exclaimed happily. The bright red flower swayed nonstop, showing its excitement. Yes. You can live here forever like us as long as you contract with my master, Feng Zhan said seductively while pointing at the surrounding beasts. Okay, I want to contract, the flower agreed readily. Illusionary flowers had high requirements for their environment, which was incomparable to other plant spirit beasts. So places outside the mystic realm were not suitable for its growth. But this place was more suitable for it than the mystic realm, so it was a little impatient to live here. Lung Ruoxue took out Feng Zhan and the illusionary flower from the bracelet. She looked at the excited red flower and said, "Let's contract." Okay. The palm-sized red flower shook nonstop and took the initiative to enter a soul contract. "I'll call you Illusion from now on," Lung Ruoxue said to the little red flower after the contract. "Thank you for giving me a name, master," the flower said happily while shaking its bright flower. "Won't it shake off its petals by swaying like this?" Lung Ruoxue couldn't help letting her imagination run wild as she looked at the trembling flower. After hearing Lung Ruoxue's thoughts, a few drops of cold sweat dripped down the flower's delicate petals as it explained helplessly, "Master, my petals won't fall." Ah, Lung Ruoxue was embarrassed. How could she forget that her beasts had telepathy with her? Lung Ruoxue glanced at Charm and Bal, who were covering their mouths and snickering. Even Feng Zhan's shoulders were shivering, even though he wasn't smiling. How embarrassing. But what Lung Ruoxue didn't know was that all of the beasts in the bracelet were also covering their mouths and laughing. Chapter 271. Encounter in the Forest, the Elegant White Tiger 6. Moreover, all the beasts thought in unison that they absolutely couldn't let their master know that she could actually block her thoughts. Hee, that was because their master was really too cute. So poor Lung Ruoxue was kept in the dark. Let's continue. Lung Ruoxue felt a little depressed as she sent illusion into the bracelet, and walked forward with Feng Zhan. After walking for a bit, Lung Ruoxue and Feng Zhan stopped again. This was because a white tiger with immaculate snow-white fur blocked their way. White tiger? Feng Zhan frowned slightly. Why is there a white tiger in this mystic realm? Fire Phoenix. The enormous white tiger was lying leisurely on a giant green stone that was twice his size. His green eyes were half closed as he spoke lazily. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes examined the incomparably elegant white tiger. He was an adult white tiger. Not only was he huge, but he was also very powerful. This white tiger was at the divine beast level on the surface, but she could clearly feel that this white tiger's strength was absolutely above Feng Zhan's. "White tiger, did you specially wait for us here?" Feng Zhan probed. "Wrong. I'm mainly here to bask in the sun. I'm just waiting for you guys while I'm at it," the white tiger said casually, but he couldn't help sighing in his heart. "Alas! I've already stayed here for countless years, and I finally see people today. How can we go past you?" Lung Ruoxue asked bluntly. She didn't want to waste time and didn't know what was happening with her grandfather and the others. She was a little worried. "Very simple. Defeat me," the white tiger said indifferently. "As long as you defeat me, I and this green stone will both belong to you," the white tiger added. "White tiger, aren't you making things difficult for us?" Feng Zhan roared in anger. His master might not be aware of this white tiger's strength, but he knew it very well. This human isn't even anxious. What's the hurry, bird? The white tiger said indifferently. You. Fengzhan was so angry that he couldn't speak. At this moment, Leng Ruoxue was observing the green stone that the white tiger mentioned. The stone was more than twice the size of the white tiger. It was entirely green and smooth like jade. But what was it if it wasn't jade? She had never seen such a stone, but it was definitely something good. Qingju, Leng Ruoxue called out softly in her head. I'm here, big sister, Qingju answered. Qingju, did you hear what that tiger said? What is that stone? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. Let me see. Qingju carefully observed and slowly searched his memory. Ah, big sister, that is a wind spirit stone, one of the main materials for refining divine artifacts. After observing for a long time, Qingju finally confirmed it and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. He really didn't expect such a large wind spirit stone to exist in the world. It was really unexpected. Wind spirit stone seems useless to me now. Leng Ruoxue said thoughtfully. Hee hee, big sister, it's useless to you now, but you will be able to use it in the future. Moreover, such a large wind spirit stone is very rare, Qingju reminded. It was really something good. Master, don't pay attention to this white tiger. Anyway, there's no danger here. Let's just drag it out here, Fengzhan said telepathically. But I'm worried that Grandpa and the others will encounter the same situation. Leng Ruoxue answered in her head worriedly. Must I defeat you? Leng Ruoxue asked as she looked up at the enormous white tiger. Yes. Furthermore, you are not allowed to ask spirit beasts for help. You can only defeat me yourself, the white tiger explained, and a smile flashed in his green eyes. I'm only a spiritual supremacy. Your strength is so much higher than mine. This is clearly an unfair battle. Leng Ruoxue frowned in slight displeasure. It's fine if you don't want to fight. Stay here with me then. The white tiger said nonchalantly. He was a kind white tiger, so of course he wouldn't force her. Let's fight then, Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. For some reason, she felt that this white tiger seemed to understand her thoughts very well. He knew that it was impossible for her to stay here, but he insisted on saying so. The white tiger slowly stood up from the giant rock and looked down at Leng Ruoxue with thousands of thoughts in his mind. He had stayed here alone for 10,000 years and was about to turn into a fossil. He could finally move around today. The white tiger stood on the stone, stretched his old arms and legs, and then elegantly walked down from the stone. Human, I will control my strength to that of a level 9 holy beast, so this match is very fair. The white tiger's huge claws gently combed the fur on his head as he spoke very elegantly. Okay. Leng Ruoxue didn't expect this white tiger to be so tasteful, so her impression of him improved greatly. Let's begin. You first, the white tiger said very politely, fully demonstrating his gentlemanly demeanor. I won't be polite then. Take this. Feather of the fire phoenix. Leng Ruoxue shouted softly. A fiery red feather instantly emerged and charged at the enormous white tiger. Is this the feather of that bird? So small. Ha! The white tiger laughed out loud. Laugh. Laugh all you want. You will cry later. Fengzhan suppressed his anger and snorted in his heart. He knew very well the power of this feather. This feather couldn't be judged by its appearance. Yes, just as Fengzhan thought, the white tiger quickly stopped smiling. The white tiger was a little dumbfounded as more and more feathers covered the sky and fluttered in the air. He even forgot to use his skills. Leng Ruoxue didn't know what to do when she saw the stunned white tiger. She didn't want to hurt the white tiger, but it was obvious that the white tiger was just in a daze and didn't unleash any skills. Should I continue fighting? I don't know what to do. Chapter 272, The Desert Labyrinth 1. Fengzhan, what happened to it? Leng Ruoxue couldn't help asking Fengzhan. I don't know. Fengzhan shook his head. How can this white tiger be so zoned out? How can a beast be in a daze during a battle? Fortunately, Master doesn't want to kill it. Otherwise, this stupid tiger would have been burned to ashes long ago. Fengzhan released a stream of fiery red spiritual power, which just happened to hit the white tigers, but... Ow! A deafening howl sounded. Which bastard dares to sneak attack on my butt? The white tiger recovered and roared angrily. Your grandpa, I did it, Feng Zhan said indifferently, crossing his arms. You damn bird, how dare you ambush me? The white tiger roared furiously, completely forgetting about the battle. His only thought now was to teach this stinky bird a lesson. How can you blame me when you're not paying attention yourself? Feng Zhan said with a look of bad intentions. He was doing a good deed. The white tiger looked at the feathers flying around him and said directly to Lung Ruoxua, I'm not fighting you anymore. I want to fight this stinky bird. How can we do that? The winner hasn't been decided yet, Lung Ruoxua insisted. Consider it your win, the white tiger said nonchalantly. You said it yourself. Since I won, you and that big green stone are mine now, Lung Ruoxua reminded very kindly. They're all yours, the white tiger said with certainty. In fact, he had wanted to leave this place for a long time. But it wasn't easy to see people, and he was a little bored, so he wanted to fight her first. After all, he had to check if this human was qualified to be his master. But if this human didn't even dare to accept his challenge, then he would rather stay here forever and wait for the next human than choose to leave. Then acknowledge me as your master. Lung Ruoxua retracted her spiritual power and smiled secretly in her heart. Subduing a powerful spirit beast without fighting was exactly what she wanted. Okay, the white tiger replied. At the same time, he was excited that he could finally leave this place. Uhu. The white tiger took the initiative to establish a soul contract. The relationship between the two was formally established with the descent of the contract array. After establishing the contract, the white tiger looked at Feng Zhan provocatively. Stinky bird, let's fight now. Fine, let's fight. Who's afraid of you? Feng Zhan said nonchalantly. Although the white tiger was of water attribute, something like attribute restraint would never happen to him. The southern spirit flame of their phoenix clan was not something ordinary water could put out. Feng Zhan returned to his original form and flew into the air. His dark red phoenix eyes were cold as he stared at the beautiful white tiger. Let's begin. Okay. The white tiger took the lead in attacking. For a time, two figures, one red and one white, were entangled together. Red and light blue spiritual powers flew everywhere, dazzling people's eyes. Lying on the giant green rock, Lung Ruoxua looked helplessly at the phoenix and tiger fighting each other. Alas! One was flying in the sky, while the other was running on the ground, but they could engage in such an intense fight. It was really unbelievable. This is? Lung Ruoxua suddenly discovered that the smooth jade-like wind spirit stone beneath her seemed to have the effect of gathering wind attribute spiritual power. She had just laid down for a short while and already felt an endless stream of wind attribute spiritual power eagerly burrowing into her body. It was really too surprising. With this discovery, Lung Ruoxua simply closed her eyes and began to meditate. Lung Ruoxua was meditating, while Feng Zhan and the white tiger were fighting more and more intensely. They were even showing signs of losing control. Feng Zhan stopped in the air and looked at the white tiger on the ground provocatively. Little kitty, come up and bite me if you dare. Feng Zhan flew in the air with some pride, leaving a trail of beautiful, colorful light, and his long tail feathers drew dazzling arcs everywhere he went. Don't you dare call me a kitty, the white tiger roared with wide green eyes. How dare this damn bird call me a kitty? It was too damaging to his self-esteem. You are a little kitty. Come, let me hear you purr. Feng Zhan smiled. At first, he was still a little afraid of this white tiger, but after his fighting spirit completely ignited, he went all out. Moreover, this tiger was already his master's contract beast, so he was even less afraid. Hee. Damn it. Damn bird, I'll make you regret it. The white tiger roared furiously, but he couldn't help cursing in his heart. Damn bird, isn't it just because you can fly? What's so great about it? I'll wait and see how you'll make me regret it, Feng Zhan said calmly. Okay, keep your eyes wide open, the white tiger reminded. Then all the wind attribute spiritual power in the sky rushed toward the white tiger. Gradually, more and more wind attribute spiritual power condensed into a huge pair of azure wings. With its azure energy wings, the white tiger flew into the air and looked into Feng Zhan's eyes. Damn bird, I said I would make you regret it. But I will be magnanimous and not make a fuss about it with you on Master's account, as long as you admit your mistake now. The white tiger suggested very kindly. In your dreams. But how do you have the wind attribute? Is it a mutation? Fengzhan asked somewhat curiously. The entire white tiger clan possessed the water attribute, but this tiger in front of him actually had 2 attributes. It was truly inconceivable. None of your business. The white tiger wouldn't satisfy this dead bird's curiosity. Have you played enough? Lung Ruoxia's voice sounded. Lung Ruoxia, who had laid on the wind spirit stone and meditated for a while, slowly opened her beautiful eyes and glanced indifferently at the phoenix and tiger flying in the sky. Helplessness flashed quickly in her eyes. The 2 beasts looked at each other and said at the same time in tacit understanding, yes. Chapter 273. The Desert Labyrinth, 2. After speaking, the 2 beasts obediently descended from the sky and directly transformed. Their faces were full of fawning as they looked at Lung Ruoxia. Ooh. Is Master angry? The 2 beasts were extremely nervous. Lung Ruoxia found it amusing. Looking at the 2 beasts' careful expressions, she said very seriously, companions must love and protect each other, so you are not allowed to fight anymore. Yes, the 2 beasts answered obediently. As my beasts, you must be united against outsiders, Lung Ruoxia added. Of course, she mainly said this for the sake of the newly joined white tiger. Yes. Then let's continue on our journey, Lung Ruoxia said after storing the wind spirit stone in the bracelet. The white tiger and Fengzhan nodded, and then the human and 4 beasts continued forward. White tiger, do you have a name? Lung Ruoxia asked while walking. My name is White Dawn, the white tiger answered after thinking about it. Alas, it's been a long time since someone called me this name. I would have forgotten it if Master hadn't asked. White Dawn, what's ahead? Lung Ruoxia asked curiously. I don't know, but I should be the most difficult beast to deal with in this forest, White Dawn said proudly. Then, how did the others get past you? Lung Ruoxia couldn't help asking. It depends on my mood. But Master, you're the first human I've seen since I came here, White Dawn said depressedly. Lung Ruoxia was speechless. It seemed like this white tiger was really almost bored to death. Master, it looks like there's nothing left in front, Fengzhan said as he looked at the path that was already at the end. Yeah. Lung Ruoxia nodded. It seemed like the first stage was really over, because there were 2 golden portals not far away. She just didn't know where these portals would teleport them. Master, we are the first to come here. The other 2 teams shouldn't have come out yet, Fengzhan guessed. He didn't want his master to let her imagination run wild. I think so too. Lung Ruoxia looked at Fengzhan's nervous appearance and couldn't help wanting to laugh. Am I such an unstable person? Master, there isn't much danger in this forest, so you can walk out of it as long as you aren't too unlucky, White Dawn explained. He already knew that his master's group had split up into 3. While they were chatting, Lung Ruhan emerged with his team. Schwer! Lung Ruhan exclaimed excitedly when he saw his little sister. Big brother Feng, did you encounter any danger? Lung Ruoxia asked with concern. We didn't encounter any danger, but we did do a lot of physical labor. Lung Ruhan smiled bitterly. Their group had probably done enough physical labor for the rest of their lives. What physical labor did you do? Lung Ruoxia asked curiously because she saw that her brother and the others were dirty and covered in dust. We dug up a lot of ores and materials, as well as countless herbs. Buhuold Zao wailed in pain. Today, he found out that looking at artificing materials all over the ground was also a very painful thing because he had to dig all of them up. Give me all your rings. Lung Ruoxia sighed sympathetically. Fortunately, she had the foresight to let them empty their rings and give them a lot of empty storage rings before they entered. Otherwise, they might not have been able to store everything. Okay. Lung Ruhan and the others handed the full storage rings to Lung Ruoxia. Lung Ruoxia took the rings and sent everything in them into the bracelet for Qingju to sort. Then she returned the rings to them. Schwer, why isn't Grandpa's team out yet? Lung Ruhan asked worriedly. Don't worry. I said that there's no danger here. They must have encountered the same thing as you. Butterfly fluttered in front of Lung Ruhan and comforted him. He had to believe in its honesty. Big brother, don't worry. Grandpa's team is stronger than yours. They won't be in danger. Lung Ruoxua also comforted. After a while, Lung Qingtian and the others emerged. But their faces and bodies were covered in dust, looking extremely disheveled. Grandpa, what happened? Lung Ruoxia's eyes were full of question marks. What did Grandpa's team do? Why do they look more miserable than Big Brother's team? Swear, Grandpa's darling. Grandpa won't catch any more rabbits. Boo-hoo? Lung Qingtian couldn't help crying as soon as he saw his precious granddaughter. Not catching any more rabbits? What does that mean? Lung Ruoxua was even more confused. What did Grandpa's team encounter? Oh, little girl. We caught thousands of rabbits with just a dozen of us and our beasts. Moreover, those damn rabbits could actually ignore the pressure of our might. Old man explained with a face full of tears and mucus. This time, Lung Ruoxua was really speechless. Her sympathy for her grandfather and his team was like a raging river flowing endlessly. They were really too pitiful. Wow. Rabbit. Rabbits in the mystic realm are the most delicious food. You're in for a treat. Butterfly said excitedly and flapped its wings even faster. Get lost. Lung Qingtian couldn't endure it and roared. He wanted to throw up at the mention of rabbits. How could he bear to eat one? Girl, your grandfather is so fierce. Butterfly's small black eyes held tears as it hid in Lung Ruoxia's hair fearfully. Who told you to spout nonsense? Lung Ruoxua didn't pity the tactless butterfly at all. Grandpa, let's take a rest in the space later. We can continue after we're rested. Lung Ruoxua suggested after looking at the sky. Okay. Lung Qingtian nodded vigorously. This was exactly what he was thinking. Ruoxua here. This is our harvest. Lin Liang handed the ring in his hand to Lung Ruoxua. Chapter 274. The Desert Labyrinth 3. Lung Ruoxua took the ring and then sent everyone into the bracelet. The air here is still the best. Lung Qingtian sighed with emotion in the bracelet. Hearing this, everyone nodded in unison, and then headed to their own residence. Lung Ruoxua didn't rest but went directly to the warehouse. Qingju was sorting all the items in the warehouse. Big sister. Qingju greeted Lung Ruoxua when he saw her. Qingju, here some more. Thank you for your hard work. Lung Ruoxua handed Qingju a few more rings. It's not difficult. It's very easy for me. Qingju said nonchalantly. He was an artifact spirit, and he could organize the entire space well with just a single thought. How is the harvest? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. Not bad. We gathered a lot of herbs and minerals. But I don't understand why there is so much food, Qingju said in puzzlement. There were many fruits in addition to the rabbit meat. He couldn't understand why there were these things in the mystic realm. They were probably afraid that we won't have anything to eat in the future. Lung Ruoxua guessed randomly. Bingo, girl, you got it right. Butterfly flew out from Lung Ruoxia's hair and floated in front of her. These fruits and rabbit meat are prepared for your journey ahead. But not everyone has such good luck. Some people might only be able to pick fruits, while others can only obtain meat. The best is to obtain both just like you, Butterfly explained. Lung Ruoxua nodded and asked, Oh Butterfly, do you know where the 2 teleportation arrays lead? I don't know. The teleportation arrays are random, and the location of each teleportation is different every time. Girl, it's best if you can be teleported to a mountain range, which is relatively less dangerous. Deserts are one of the most dangerous places, so don't go to deserts. Butterfly reminded. I'll try my best. Lung Ruoxua said calmly. Since it was random, how could she decide where she would be teleported? Qingju, big sister is going to rest. Don't exhaust yourself. Lung Ruoxua said with concern. Okay, big sister, quickly go and rest. Qingju urged. Lung Ruoxua left the warehouse and went straight to her temporary bamboo house, where she lay on the bed with her clothes on. Little mink, let's sleep for a while. Lung Ruoxua said to the little mink in her arms. Okay. The little silver mink found a comfortable spot in Lung Ruoxia's arms and closed his eyes in satisfaction. It was already the next day when Lung Ruoxia woke up. After exiting the bamboo house, Lung Ruoxia saw her grandfather and the others already waiting for her. She didn't expect to be the last to wake up. "Where's Ball Ball?" Lung Ruoxia looked around at everyone but didn't see the chubby little Ball. After he entered the bracelet yesterday, she let him roam freely, but he disappeared today. "Big sister, I'm here," Ball Ball yelled from a tall tree. Everyone raised their heads and looked at the source of the sound. At this moment, Ball Ball was lying on a milky white spirit fruit twice his size, looking as though everything would be fine if there were fruits. "Ball Ball, aren't you coming down to accompany Big Sister on a treasure hunt?" Lung Ruoxia pretended to be sad. "Ah, I want to accompany Big Sister," Ball Ball hurriedly said. He flapped his small wings and flew down from the tree, landing directly on Lung Ruoxia's shoulder. "Grandpa, stay in here for now. Come out after we arrive at the teleport destination." Lung Ruoxia caressed Ball Ball's soft fur in satisfaction. "Okay, Schwer. Be careful," Lung Qingtian reminded. "I will." Then Lung Ruoxia left the bracelet by herself. Looking at the two teleportation arrays in front of her, Lung Ruoxia hesitated. "Which one should I choose?" "Forget it. I won't think about it anymore. I'll just randomly enter one of them." After making up her mind, Lung Ruoxia walked directly into the nearest teleportation array. As a dazzling light flashed, Lung Ruoxia subconsciously closed her eyes. When the light disappeared, she opened her eyes. But the scenery in front of her made her pale with fright. In front and all around here were densely packed venomous snakes and scorpions. Every venomous snake was as thick as an adult's arm, and the venomous scorpions were as big as a wash basin. Moreover, their bodies were pitch black and shiny, and their eyes released a greedy and sinister cold light. "Hee, another human finally came knocking on our door," a venomous snake said with a vulgar laugh. "I haven't had the taste of human in a long time. But only one isn't enough." The largest scorpion among the scorpions waved its huge pincers in dissatisfaction. Lung Ruoxia felt depressed as she listened to the discussion between the snake and the scorpion. "Alas! Why am I so unlucky? I was actually teleported to a desert, and I became the food that two holy beasts are discussing." Lung Ruoxia's beautiful eyes quietly examined the situation and environment in front of her, while the two holy beasts were discussing. The venomous snakes and scorpions were worthy of being the kings in this endless desert. But two tigers could not share one mountain. It was amazing that these snakes and scorpions could get along peacefully, and even become friends. The venomous snakes and scorpions in front of her were all holy beasts. Among them were hundreds of level 9 holy beasts, which could be considered very powerful. But it was a pity that they actually encountered her. It remains to be seen if they have the capability to eat me. "Do you want to eat me?" Lung Ruoxia asked softly with a smile. "Isn't it obvious? You're already on our plate." "Ha!" The venomous snake laughed hysterically. "But I'm afraid you won't be alive to eat me," Lung Ruoxia said with pity. Chapter 275. The Desert Labyrinth 4. The desert is our territory. No human who comes here can leave this place alive, the venomous snake said confidently. "Then use facts to prove it." Then Lung Ruoxia summoned all her divine beasts. So many divine beasts. The level of pressure made the group of poisonous snakes and scorpions a little flustered. They might not be afraid of strong humans, but they couldn't not be afraid of the pressure of the divine beasts. This fear was inborn, and an irresistible existence in their bloodlines. "What? Do you want to eat my master?" Fengzhan said coldly with his dark red phoenix eyes narrowed. The venomous snake immediately changed its attitude and said ingratiatingly, Misunderstanding. This is all a misunderstanding. How dare we eat your master?" "Yes, that's right. We don't want to eat her. You heard it wrong, hee." The biggest scorpion also pretended to be an obedient grandson as it tried to curry favor with them. But its slightly cloudy little eyes kept spinning, and who knew what it was up to? "Fengzhan, don't bother talking nonsense with them. Annihilate them all." Lung Ruoxue said emotionlessly. Even though she didn't like fighting, she would absolutely not show any mercy if only force could solve the problem. Yes, master. Feng Zhan quickly replied and prepared to release his southern spirit flame. Wait, you can't kill us. We are able to live here because of the rules of the mystic realm. If you kill us, you won't be able to obtain anything. The scorpion was quick-witted and quickly shouted while transmitting its voice in its head non-stop. King, where are you? Come and save your people. Boo. Is that so? Lung Ruoxue asked lightly with a smile. Yes, absolutely. So you can't kill us. At worst, we'll let you go. The scorpion said obediently. Ooh. Where did this monster come from? How does she have so many divine beasts? But what I know seems different from what you know. As far as I know, it doesn't matter even if I kill all of you because when the mystic realm reopens 1,000 years later, new venomous snakes and scorpions will replace you in this desert. So I better do something good. I believe those little fellows who are about to be born will thank me. Lung Ruoxue decided to spread the spirit of doing good deeds, so these hateful things could go to heaven. As soon as Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, all the divine beasts attacked together. Colorful spiritual power danced all over the sky, and exploded the group of poisonous snakes and scorpions into ashes in the blink of an eye. It's much quieter like this, Lung Ruoxue praised. Without the poisonous snakes and scorpions obstructing her vision, her field of vision was much wider. Lung Ruoxue sent the other beasts back to the bracelet, leaving only Charm and Feng Zhan, before moving her grandfather and the others out. Schwer. As soon as the little silver mink emerged, he openly occupied Lung Ruoxue's soft arms. Big sister. Ball laid on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder obediently. The transformed charm occupied Lung Ruoxue's other shoulder. As for Feng Zhan, he naturally transformed into a human, and followed beside Lung Ruoxue. Grandpa, let's go. Lung Ruoxue said to Lung Qingtian and the others. Butterfly flew to Lung Ruoxue's side and reminded, Girl, the Snake King and the Scorpion King haven't appeared yet, so you have to be careful. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded, then led the group deeper into the unknown desert. They walked for hours in the deserted desert, but found nothing. Schwer, it's so hot here. Lung Qingtian kept wiping the sweat off his forehead with his hand and complaining. Grandpa, let's take a break. Lung Ruoxue suggested. Okay, let's all rest here. Lung Qingtian said loudly to everyone. Hearing this, everyone hurriedly sat on the ground. Everyone have some fruits. Lung Ruoxue took out the fruits they had picked in the forest from her bracelet. Schwer, although this fruit doesn't have much spiritual power, it has plenty of water. Lung Qingtian said while munching on a fruit. Grandpa, I have a feeling that everything was arranged in advance by the mystic realm. Lung Ruoxue voiced her doubts. Butterfly flew into Lung Ruoxue's hair and explained. Haha girl, everything in the mystic realm is under the jurisdiction of the spirit of the mystic realm. Otherwise, why would you have to do so many things in the first stage? Moreover, the first stage is not life-threatening. It's just a little tiring. But you have to understand the painstaking efforts of the mystic realm spirit. These fruits, meat, herbs, ores, and so on are all very useful to you. With them, at least your lives will be much safer in the mystic realm. Of course, luck and strength are also very important. But at the very least, you won't die of hunger or thirst. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Butterfly's words were very reasonable. After all, not everyone could have a heaven-defying space like her. Moreover, it was impossible for others to have storage rings full of food. So survival was indeed the biggest problem. Ruoxue, how long do we have to go in this desert? Lin Liang couldn't help asking suddenly. I don't know. I guess we have to complete the mission like in the forest to leave this place. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. This desert seemed to be circular, and they were actually walking around in circles. The entire desert is bare. How do we complete the mission? Lin Liang was depressed. There was endless sand in front of them, and they couldn't find the goal at all. Ah! Suddenly, an exclamation sounded in everyone's ears. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and found that Hu Bin, who had been sitting not far away from them, had disappeared. Ha! Where did Hu Bin go? Everyone was surprised and was about to go over to take a look, but Lung Ruoxue stopped them. Chapter 276. The Desert Labyrinth 5. Everyone, stay where you are. Don't move. Then Lung Ruoxua walked over. Swear, what happened? Lung Qingtian asked worriedly. It's okay. It's just a hole. Hu Bin fell down. Lung Ruoxua squatted down and looked into the hole. But it was pitch black inside, and she couldn't see anything clearly. Grandpa, everyone go back into the space. I'll go down and take a look. Lung Ruoxua sent everyone back into the bracelet. Hold on to me tightly. Lung Ruoxua nodded at Charm and Ball before jumping down without hesitation. Fengzhan also followed closely behind and jumped down the hole. Lung Ruoxua touched the two little beasts on her shoulders and called out softly in the pitch-black cave. Charm Ball, Fengzhan? Master, I'm here. Fengzhan lit a flame, and the entire cave instantly lit up. What is this place? Lung Ruoxua looked around. It was actually a house, and the whole house was as empty as the wilderness. There was not a single piece of furniture, and dust covered the walls. There was also a moldy smell in the house, as though no one had lived in it for a long time. Hu Bin? Lung Ruoxua found the unconscious Hu Bin in a corner of the room. She hurriedly ran over, helped him up, and stuffed a pill into his mouth. Miss, where is this? Hu Bin, who just woke up, asked in bewilderment. I don't know. I'll send you back into the space to rest first. Lung Ruoxua sent Hu Bin into the bracelet. Swear, let Grandpa out to accompany you, Lung Qingtian said in the space. How could he be at ease with his precious granddaughter taking risks alone in this unknown place? Swear, Big Brother wants to come out too, Lung Ruhan echoed. Hee, little girl. Let us out. Old man said. All right then. Lung Ruoxua knew that they wouldn't be willing to stay in the space peacefully. But those below spiritual supremacy should stay in there for the time being. Swear, this house is so strange. Lung Qingtian looked around the room after coming out. Yes, it's a little strange, Lung Ruoxua agreed. She jumped down directly from the hole, but she didn't notice any damage to the house. So where did she come from? Why are you thinking so much? There's a door there. Let's go out and take a look. Lin Liang pointed at a door. Then let's go. Lung Ruoxua said while looking at everyone present. Swear, hide behind Grandpa. Grandpa will take the lead. Lung Qingtian pulled his granddaughter behind him and walked out first. Lung Ruoxua smiled helplessly and followed her grandfather out. After everyone left the room, they heard a mechanical voice. Welcome to the Desert Labyrinth. You are the 5th batch of adventurers today. Good luck. Then the voice disappeared. What lousy thing is this? Why don't you talk about the rules? Old Zhao couldn't help cursing. Butterfly, why did that voice just say that we are the 5th batch today? Lung Ruoxua asked in puzzlement. Girl, he means that 4 more groups of people entered before you, Butterfly explained patiently. I know. I mean, didn't they encounter those venomous snakes and scorpions? Lung Ruoxua asked depressedly. I don't know. But there should be more than one entrance to this desert labyrinth, Butterfly said after some thought. What treasures are in this labyrinth? Lung Ruoxua continued to ask. It will be best if there's something that can interest me here. Otherwise, I won't mind demolishing this place. Girl, I really don't know, Butterfly said aggrievedly. Swear, which way should we go? Lung Qingtian asked uncertainly as he looked at the path that split into 2 directions. Lung Ruoxua looked up at the environment in front of her. The sky above the labyrinth was gray, and she couldn't see anything clearly. There was a path under their feet at this moment, and they were standing in the middle of it. There was an exit on each side, but the one on the left was slightly closer to them, while the one on the right was relatively farther away. Girl, you have to think carefully, Butterfly reminded. Lung Ruoxua frowned as she pondered. To the right. Lung Ruoxua said with certainty after a while. She chose the nearest portal last time, and ended up in the desert, so she chose the one farther away this time. After deciding, Lung Ruoxua and the others walked toward the right exit. They saw a door at the right exit. Everyone looked at each other. Lung Ruoxua pushed the door open, and everyone walked in. After entering, everyone found that they were in a secret room. It was empty, but there were 2 teleportation arrays in the upper right corner, and they didn't know where they teleported to. Welcome to the first stage of the labyrinth. The mechanical voice sounded in everyone's ears again. What are we going to do in the first stage? Old Zao couldn't help asking. But the voice disappeared once more, and he was so angry he started cursing again. What is that sound? Lung Ruoxua asked uncertainly. She seemed to have heard a rustling sound. Wind. Feng Moran asked doubtfully. He heard it too. Lung Qingtian listened carefully and then said with certainty, definitely not wind. Everyone stay alert. Lung Qingtian reminded. As soon as he finished speaking, countless black beetles emerged from the ground. Each beetle was the size of a millstone and entirely black. They had extremely hard carapaces and 2 antennas on their heads, and gray eyes the size of bronze bells were looking at them greedily. We've become food in the eyes of these bugs, Lung Ruoxua said with a tingling scalp. She hated things like snakes and bugs the most. Schwer, it seems like we won't be able to leave this place until we destroy these bugs, Lung Ruhan said in realization. He already understood the rules of the mystic realm, and he knew that they had to destroy or subdue the things here to leave every place they went. Chapter 277. Tough Love 1. Then let's fight and end this quickly, Lung Ruoxua said to everyone present, and then she was the first to attack. How did this happen? Lung Ruoxua was puzzled. Her fire attribute spiritual power hit the bugs, but it seemed like an itch to them, and actually didn't leave the slightest mark on their bodies. Could they be immune to fire attribute spiritual power? Old Man guessed. If that was the case, it would be a big deal because most of them were fire attribute spiritual power cultivators. Let me try. Feng Zhan directly released his southern spirit flame. The extremely hot southern spirit flame quickly burned 1/3 of the bugs to death, but their shells remained intact. What firm shells? Last, the shells of these worms are definitely top-grade materials for making armor, Old Zao said excitedly. Yeah. Lung Ruoxua nodded in agreement, and then summoned more than 10 phoenixes. Feng Zhan, I'll leave these nasty bugs to you, Lung Ruoxua said to Feng Zhan. These bugs were not afraid of ordinary flames. Okay. Feng Zhan directly ordered his clan members. After a few minutes, they wiped out all the bugs, leaving only their hard shells on the ground. Congratulations on passing the first level. You receive 500 points. The robotic voice sounded again. 500 points? What's the use? Lung Ruoxua asked in puzzlement. Butterfly flew in front of Lung Ruoxua and explained. Girl, you can exchange these points for rewards before you leave the mystic realm. What are the rewards? Old Man asked curiously. I don't know either. Anyway, they are all good things that you need, Butterfly said lightly as it fluttered in the air. Aren't there any rewards for this level? Lung Ruoxua said with some displeasure. She didn't want to work for free. Girl, the shells of those bugs are your spoils of war, Butterfly said cautiously, afraid that she would vent her anger on it. What's the point of having the shells if you're not an artificer? Lin Liang pretended to be displeased. This mystic realm spirit was really too stingy. Even an artificer might not be able to use them. Old Zao echoed hurriedly. He didn't think that his flames would be hotter than the Fire Phoenix's southern spirit flame. Yes, Lung Qingtian and Old Man echoed in unison. But don't you still have points? You can exchange them for things, Butterfly said weakly. Ooh, I've never encountered such difficult people. Who can save me? But we can only use the points if we're still alive. Who knows if we can get out alive? The Feng family's first elder said coldly. Seeing everyone's dissatisfaction, Lung Ruoxua laughed in her heart. Everyone is so united. It's not impossible to obtain other rewards as long as you defeat the beetle general. The robotic voice sounded again. You have to let us know what we can obtain by defeating that bug general. Only then will we have the motivation. Lung Ruoxua began to negotiate with the voice. You can obtain an additional 10,000 points, the voice said. Not enough. We want physical rewards, Lung Ruoxua said, asking for an exorbitant price. This voice likely belongs to that whatever mystic realm spirit. Since it's in charge of the entire mystic realm, it should have a lot of good things. Who else would we rob but it? All right. What do you want? No more than 10 items, the robotic voice said through gritted teeth. It was obviously trembling from anger. Qingju, what should we order? Lung Ruoxue immediately sent a voice transmission to Qingju. This little fellow was very experienced and knowledgeable, and he knew a lot of good things. Big sister, there aren't many good things in the mystic realms of low-level dimensions, so I only want these few items. Qingju gave Lung Ruoxue a list. What are these things? Lung Ruoxue's forehead dripped with cold sweat. She admitted that she was a little ignorant because she actually didn't recognize any of the things that Qingju told her. Big sister, we will need these things when we go to other dimensions. Moreover, I am sure that it can produce these things, Qingju said with a smile, looking like a cunning little fox. Okay then. Lung Ruoxue cut off the voice transmission with Qingju. Then she cleared her throat and said, I want purple spirit grass, dragon core sand, 10,000-year-old green pearl. Lung Ruoxue listed 10 items in one breath. With every piece, the voice seemed to tremble in anger. All right, I want these things, Lung Ruoxue said to the void. You. The voice didn't manage to form a complete sentence for a long while. It was obvious that it was extremely angry. What? You can't bear to part with them? Lung Ruoxue said mockingly. Except for the angry voice, Lung Qingtian and the others, who were watching the commotion by the side, were all puzzled. They didn't know what the things Schwer listed were, but since she could make the voice so angry that it couldn't finish speaking. Yeah, they should be good things. All right, I will give you all the things you want as long as you can defeat the beetle general, the voice said while suppressing its anger. We will definitely defeat that big bug, Lung Ruoxue said confidently. Then you'll wait and see. After speaking, the voice directly disappeared. Schwer, why hasn't that bug come out yet? Feng Moran couldn't help asking after waiting for more than 10 minutes. It's probably a little slow because it's too fat. Wait for it. Lung Ruoxue said very kindly. Damn you, human. You're the fat one. An angry roar came from underground. Then the earth shook violently as a massive black gold beetle crawled up slowly from the ground. A divine beast. Old man exclaimed. He didn't expect this bug to be a divine beast. He couldn't help feeling a little depressed as he thought about those ordinary beetles with abnormal defense just now. Chapter 278. Tough Love 2. It's just a bug. How can it be a beast? It's a divine bug at best. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of disdain. You damn human. How dare you call the mighty me a divine bug? Let me tell you, I am a divine beast. The beetle general roared in anger. Not only was its voice deafening, but the smell coming from its mouth was foul too. It stinks. Everyone quickly covered their mouths and noses. Stinks. Where's the stink? I'm one of the most handsome in the insect world, you ignorant humans. Imph. The beetle general said with contempt. After hearing this, everyone was dumbfounded. What kind of bug is this? How can there be such a narcissistic bug? This was everyone's only thought at this moment. Master, leave this stinky bug to me. White Dawn, in the bracelet, volunteered to go into battle. Okay. Lung Ruoxue helplessly summoned White Dawn. As soon as White Dawn emerged, his green eyes glared daggers at the bug claiming to be mighty. This damn bug actually dared claim to be mighty. White Dawn hated it. Stinky bug, I am your opponent. White Dawn said coldly. A divine beast? A cat? Haha. The gigantic beetle general laughed hysterically when it saw the kitten that wasn't even as big as its leg. Damn it. Open your bug eyes and look carefully. White Dawn roared furiously. He was obviously a mighty white tiger, but this disgusting stinky bug actually dared to call him a cat. Schwer, where did this cat come from? Lung Qingtian asked softly. In fact, he wanted to ask when he saw the white cat yesterday, but he didn't have the chance. Grandpa, Lung Ruoxue was at a loss for words. Master's grandfather, I'm not a cat, White Dawn said aggrievedly. Ooh. It doesn't matter if that bug is ignorant, but why does even Master's grandfather think him a cat? I'm so mighty and strong. Not a cat. Lung Qingtian looked suspiciously at the palm-sized thing in front of him. Don't tell me this little fellow is a tiger? Haha, I told you long ago that you're a little kitty. Feng Zhan laughed as he grabbed White Dawn in his hand. What an idiot. He actually doesn't realize that he's currently transformed. Damn bird, let go of me quickly. White Dawn struggled and twisted his chubby little body. Boo. So I'm in my transformed state. Alright, I'll let you go. Feng Zhan released his grip without hesitation, and White Dawn fell. Howl. With a tiger's roar, White Dawn enlarged his body and steadily landed on all four. The kitten actually became bigger? As expected of a cat who's a divine beast. The beetle general exclaimed. Damn it. I'm going to kill you. White Dawn was furious. What kind of gaze is that? You called me a cat when I was in my transformed state, but you're still calling me a cat when I return to my original form. After speaking, White Dawn pounced directly at the beetle general. Watching by the side, Lung Ruoxue and the others all had black lines hanging over their heads as they sighed in their hearts. This bug was really stupid. In its eyes, there was no difference between a cat and a tiger. During the battle, White Dawn unleashed his water element skills nonstop and blasted the beetle general's body. But he didn't leave a single scratch behind. In contrast, the gigantic bug was calm and composed. It didn't attack at all, and just lay on the ground. No matter how much spiritual power struck it, it didn't move. Seeing that his skills were ineffective, White Dawn was even angrier. He scratched directly with his sharp claws, but his claws scratched the tough steel-like shell of the beetle general, without leaving any marks. Kitten, let me help you. Feng Zhan couldn't bear to watch any longer. This beetle general's defense was really too abnormal. Who knew what its shell was made of? Okay, I'll leave it to you. Depressed, White Dawn retreated to Lung Ruoxue's side, and gave the battlefield to Feng Zhan. There was really nothing he could do about this bug. He would definitely deplete his spiritual power if he continued fighting. Brimming with confidence, Feng Zhan spat a mouthful of southern spirit flame at the big bug before returning to Lung Ruoxue's side. Kitten, I've settled it, Feng Zhan said provocatively. Are you sure? White Dawn pointed at the weakening flames on the beetle general. Of course. How is this possible? When Feng Zhan's gaze turned to the big bug again, he suddenly saw that his southern spirit flame was actually becoming smaller and smaller. Moreover, it only burned for a few minutes before extinguishing. Seeing this, he was also depressed. His invincible southern spirit flame actually couldn't do anything to a bug. Let me try how thick its shell is, Lung Ruoxue suddenly said. She had been observing this bug since White Dawn attacked it just now, and she had a rough idea. This bug's attack power shouldn't be high, or it shouldn't have any attacks at all. But its defense was invincible. Even the divine beasts, White Dawn and Feng Zhan, couldn't do anything to it. She wondered if her divine flame would cause any damage to this bug. Feather of the Fire Phoenix, Lung Ruoxue exclaimed. A fiery red spiritual power feather shining with golden light flew toward the beetle general. She had infused her divine flame into the feather. The beetle general raised its head slightly, and looked at the small red feather disdainfully. Then it lowered its head again, obviously not paying attention to the tiny flame. But when the small feather disintegrated into countless particles and stuck to its entire body, a piercing pain came from its body. Eha! A howl of pain sounded from the beetle general. It began to roll around on the ground, and its voice became weaker and weaker. After a while, the beetle general disappeared from the world, but its shell remained. Chapter 279. Tough Love 3. Lung Ruoxue put away the shell and then said to the void, "The beetle general is dead. Hurry up and give us our reward." "For you. You can go to the next level," the mechanical voice said without emotion. Lung Ruoxue glanced at the rewards that appeared in front of her. She deliberately counted them before storing them in the bracelet. "Damn girl. Why would I lie to you?" The mechanical voice sounded again, this time with obvious anger. "It's hard to say. What if you replace something or mix something else in them?" Lung Ruoxue obviously didn't trust it. "You. Quickly go to the next level. You have to exit the labyrinth within 48 hours. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving, the mechanical voice reminded. Belated advice. Lung Ruoxue complained. Grandpa, let's hurry up and go. Lung Ruoxue said to Lung Qingtian and the others. All right, let's go. He was slightly anxious upon hearing that there was a time limit. Which portal do we enter? Lung Ruoxue asked as she looked at the two portals. Swear you decide. Lung Ruhan said. Lung Ruoxue looked at everyone and decided directly. The portal on the left. Everyone stepped through the left portal. And as a light flashed, they were teleported to another room. Why is it another room? Old man said helplessly. Lung Ruoxue looked around. Apart from the lack of doors, this room was no different from the first room they had encountered. The only difference was that the door had changed to 2 teleportation arrays. Lucky wretched girl, you can pass the second level directly. The mechanical voice sounded displeased. Are there any rewards for this level? Lung Ruoxue asked directly, ignoring the displeasure in the voice. Only points. Because of your luck, each of you obtained 2,000 points. The mechanical voice became emotionless again. Okay. Damn girl, quickly go to the next level. The last level has a big prize. There are already 2 teams there, the mechanical voice reminded. What prize? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. She didn't want to waste her energy if it wasn't something that could move her. What you want the most? Then the mechanical voice disappeared. What do I want the most? Lung Ruoxue frowned in thought. What she wanted the most now was a 1,000-year-old fire lotus. But fire lotuses had to grow in places with rich fire element or in volcanoes. However, according to Butterfly, there was no such place in the mystic realm, so she didn't have much hope of finding a fire lotus here. Swear, let's continue. Lung Qingtian looked at his granddaughter, who was lost in thought. Lung Ruoxue looked at the teleportation array by the wall. All right, let's go to the left. Then everyone stepped in. After entering, they were surprised to find themselves in another room. Moreover, the layout of the room was exactly the same as the one before. Lucky damn girl, you can pass directly again, and your reward is 4,000 points. It didn't give Lung Ruoxue time to ask more questions, and directly disappeared after speaking. Lass, look at how scared it is. It actually escaped so quickly this time. Old Zhao said excitedly. Okay, still the one on the left, Lung Ruoxue said without hesitation and walked in first. Everyone followed closely behind and entered as well. It was yet another secret room, and the layout was almost the same as the one in the first level. Moreover, there was another team of about a dozen people in the secret room. When the 2 teams saw each other, they were both stunned and then stared at each other with wide eyes. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes sized them up. There were a total of 12 people in this team, 8 spiritual supremacies and 4 peak spiritual sovereigns. Such a team would definitely be considered a formidable force in the mystic realm. Hello, I am Ming Huan. The young man leading the group greeted them sincerely. This man named Ming Huan was in his early 20s, had handsome features, and an outstanding temperament. He was an intermediate spiritual supremacy. Lung Ruoxue, these people are my family, Lung Ruoxue said simply. We are from the Ming family of the Lingyan continent. May I ask about you? Ming Huan asked curiously. The team in front of him only had 10 people, but each of them was stronger than them. Therefore, he had to humble himself and take the initiative to befriend them. After all, it was better to have one more friend than one more enemy in such a mysterious place. We are from the Lingfeng continent, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently while thinking. Why hasn't that voice appeared yet? Suddenly, the teleportation array lit up, and another team walked in. Ming Huan. Haha, I didn't expect to meet you here. This is great. The man who spoke grinned, and his handsome face was full of viciousness. It's indeed a little coincidental, Ming Huan said indifferently without any expression on his face. Ming Huan, why don't we join forces? When the time comes, we can split the treasures in the labyrinth equally. The man proposed directly, ignoring Lung Ruoxue and the others. It's not only our 2 teams here, Ming Huan reminded after glancing at Lung Ruoxue and the others. So what? Our 2 teams are definitely the strongest. The other teams are not qualified to compete with us, the man said confidently. He had a trump card. Let's talk about the last level, Ming Huan said coldly. While dealing with the man, Ming Huan sent Lung Ruoxue a voice transmission. Miss Lung, this man's name is Zhu Feng, and he's also from the Lingyun continent. But he isn't a good person, so be careful. Got it. Thank you. Lung Ruoxue replied politely while looking at the team that entered last. This team had the largest number of people among their 3 teams, with a total of 25 people. Moreover, spiritual supremacies alone accounted for 2/3 of the entire team. It was no wonder that Zhu Feng was so confident. Their team was indeed very strong. Chapter 280, Tough Love 4. While waiting, Zhu Feng looked around, and his eyes lit up in amazement when he saw Lung Ruoxue. She was so beautiful. May I ask your good name, miss? Zhu Feng walked to Lung Ruoxue and struck up a conversation with her, thinking that he was very gentlemanly. Lung Ruoxue looked at the slightly chubby man with turbid eyes and a vulgar face with disgust in her heart. She said innocently, Grandpa said that I'm not allowed to talk to strange men. Men are not good and only lie to little girls. The old men and the others were dumbfounded when they heard what Ruoxue said. Lass, you scolded all men. Lung Qingtian felt even more wronged. Darling granddaughter, how can you wrong your grandpa? When did grandpa say such things? A big brother isn't a bad person. Big brother can go to your home to propose marriage once I know your name. Zhu Feng smiled. Propose marriage? What's propose marriage? Is this it? Lung Ruoxue's clear and beautiful eyes blinked innocently twice. Then she raised her hand and slapped Zhu Feng directly on the face. How dare you hit our young master? You must be tired of living. Zhu Feng's lackey hurriedly hollered when he saw his young master being hit by a woman. Woo! This dog beside Big Brother Zhu is so fierce. A scared expression appeared on Lung Ruoxue's face, and her beautiful eyes welled up with tears. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. They don't bite. Zhu Feng's heart immediately softened when he saw the bowtie's pitiful appearance with tears in her eyes. He had long thrown away his displeasure from being slapped just now. Big Brother Zhu, are you sure? Grandpa said that if you get bitten by a dog, you will get sick. Lung Ruoxue asked uncertainly with tears in her beautiful eyes. Yes, I'm sure. They promise not to bite. Zhu Feng coaxed with a forced smile. But he was gritting his teeth in hatred. Why is this little bowtie's grandfather so troublesome? Lung Qingtian was on the verge of tears when he saw the old men beside him holding back their laughter. Darling, you wronged Grandpa again. Boo-hoo. Big Brother Zhu, were you happy with that slap just now? I heard someone say that this is tough love. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile, her absolutely beautiful smile making heaven and earth lose color. Yes, I'm happy. Zhu Feng was smitten by this beautiful smile. At this moment, he only wanted to please the beauty and couldn't care less about anything else. Then Big Brother Zhu, do you want to be happier? Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of mystery, and the killing intent in her eyes flashed for a moment. Yes, of course I do. Zhu Feng began to let his imagination run wild. Is the beauty going to throw herself into my arms? That's great. Lung Ruoxue released the 5 silver wolves and said with a smile, help me express my gratitude to Big Brother Zhu. Master, we will definitely let him understand your intentions, Silver Wings promised. How dare he have any ideas about Master? He really doesn't know the meaning of death. Beauty, what are you doing? Zhu Feng asked in shock. Hitting is affection and cursing is love. Lung Ruoxue said with a sweet smile. The moment she finished speaking, the 5 silver wolves threw Zhu Feng to the ground and began violently scratching his body with their large and sharp claws. Aha! A shrill scream instantly sounded in everyone's ears. Young master. Zhu Feng's subordinates hurriedly stepped forward to save him. Feng Zhan blocked in front of the Zhu family and said coldly, didn't you hear what my master said? Hitting is affection and cursing is love. Humph. How dare you hit our young master? You must be tired of living. If you know what's good for you, get out of the way quickly. Otherwise, it'll teach you a lesson. A middle-aged man in the Zhu family's team roared. Are you talking to me? Feng Zhan's dark red phoenix eyes narrowed. His tone was unfriendly, and he deliberately unleashed his might. Ah, this is a spiritual deity? Everyone from the Zhu family was shocked, their faces horrified. Although the Zhu family had the advantage in numbers, it was not worth mentioning in front of a spiritual deity. That man in red is a spiritual deity? Ming Huan, who was watching the commotion not far away, murmured in surprise. But he was also puzzled. Aren't only spiritual supremacies allowed in here? Why is there a spiritual deity? Which of your eyes saw that I am a spiritual deity? Feng Zhan questioned with some displeasure. Someone from the Zhu family gathered his courage and asked carefully. If you're not a spiritual deity, then what are you? You don't deserve to know. All you need to know is that no one is allowed to save this pig head before my master has had enough fun. Feng Zhan said in an incomparably overbearing manner. So what if you have the strength of a spiritual deity? Our Zhu family has so many people here, but you're only one person. You're not our match at all. A young man without much experience in the Zhu family suddenly said loudly. Zhu Neng, shut up. An old man in his 60s scolded before Feng Zhan could say anything. The old man's face was full of smiles as he said to Feng Zhan very respectfully. Your Excellency, I'm really sorry. This child is insensible. Please don't take it to heart. Of course I won't bicker with an insensible child. But I don't know if others will bicker with you. Feng Zhan said meaningfully with a smile that could enchant all living things on his handsome face. Feng Zhan, come back. Leng Ruoxia called out softly. Upon hearing this, Feng Zhan obediently returned to Leng Ruoxia's side and whispered. Master, why didn't we kill the Zhu family members? They're really an eyesore. Do you want to be someone else's goon? Leng Ruoxia asked lightly and glanced at the Ming family. There's a price to pay for using me. I don't want to. I mean, why don't we eliminate them all, and let these people fight in hell together? Feng Zhan whispered evilly. After all, in his eyes, everyone other than his master and his master's people were dispensable. Chapter 281. I want the 10,000-year-old fire lotus 1. Now is not the time. There are still 2 levels, Leng Ruoxia reminded. If the treasures in the last level caught her attention, and these people insisted on snatching them from her, then they couldn't blame her for being ruthless. Swear, I'll leave you for a while. The little mink, who had been staying quietly in Leng Ruoxia's arms, suddenly said. Then he transformed into a ray of silver light and dashed out. The little silver mink rushed to the side of Zhu Feng, who was already in a miserable state. His eyes released waves of cold light, and his sharp claws flashed, striking an important area below Zhu Feng's abdomen. Damn pighead, how dare you have any ideas about Swear? I definitely won't let you go. The little mink thought resentfully. Aha! Aha! Zhu Feng screamed in pain. But even after he fainted from the pain, the little mink slapped him awake again. Ball, who found it amusing, also flew over, and his little pink paws bounced vigorously on Zhu Feng's body. Elder, what should we do? Someone from the Zhu family whispered. What can we do? Can you beat that red-clothed man? The old man addressed as Elder said very pragmatically, but he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Alas! The young master will most likely become useless. Everyone from the Ming family had the mentality of just watching the show, but they were terrified seeing what was happening. What kind of pet beast was this? How could a man survive with an important part of him attacked? Zhu Feng was so pitiful. Leng Ruoxia and the others were also dumbfounded as they watched. After the little silver mink was done, he released a stream of water attribute spiritual power to wash his little paws. Then he jumped back into Leng Ruoxia's arms and lay down gently. His entire movement was as smooth as flowing water. Big sister. Ball was also done playing and flew back to Leng Ruoxia's side. But the bloodstains on his pink claws made him awkward. Ball looked at his dirty little paws, and then at Leng Ruoxia with tears in his eyes. Big sister, my paws are dirty. Boo-hoo. Leng Ruoxia shook her head helplessly and released a water orb to wash Ball's paws. She then coaxed. Okay, it's clean. Big sister, Ball likes big sister so much. Ball said coquettishly as he flew onto Lung Ruox's shoulder, and his chubby little body gently rubbed against her beautiful face. Big sister likes Ball too, Lung Ruoxia said as she caressed his soft fur. Hee. Ball laughed happily. Welcome to the 4th level of the Desert Labyrinth. The 4th level is to kill all the monsters here. Moreover, I have to remind you that you must cooperate in order to complete this level, regardless of the enmity between you. Otherwise, you won't be able to complete this level. The mechanical voice finally appeared. Silver Wings, come back, Lung Ruoxia said very kindly before Zhu Feng was tortured to death. Yes, master. After the Silver Wolves gave a final vicious strike, they went back to Lung Ruox's side. Silver Wings gently raised his front paw and kicked Zhu Feng, whose body was covered in claw marks and blood, and whose clothes had long become strips of cloth, back to the Zhu family. Young master. The Zhu family elder hurriedly took out a pill and stuffed it into Zhu Feng's mouth. His face was full of disappointment. How many times have I told the young master that lust is like a knife? But he didn't listen. Great, now you've been taught a lesson. However, what made him angrier was that he couldn't take revenge. Lung Ruoxia ignored the hateful gazes of the Zhu family members and turned her head to remind everyone. Grandpa, everyone be careful. Okay. Swear you should be careful too. I'm afraid that the Zhu family will do something under the table, Lung Qingtian reminded her. They don't dare to do it now. Otherwise, no one will be able to pass this level. But it's hard to say what will happen in the next level, Lung Ruoxia analyzed. Sha. While Lung Ruoxia and the others were whispering, a rustling sound came. Afterward, countless bugs emerged from the ground. Among these bugs were ants, scorpions, and centipedes. Moreover, every bug was the size of a millstone. The few huge bugs leading the way were several times larger than the ordinary bugs. Damn it, more bugs again, Lung Ruoxia said depressedly. And she was already cursing the spirit of the mystic realm. Can't that spirit of the mystic realm do anything other than these disgusting things? Miss Lung, looks like we have to cooperate, Ming Huan said loudly while looking at Lung Ruoxia. Lung Ruoxia glanced at the Zhu family elder and said mockingly, well, this level requires everyone to cooperate, so don't drag us down. Our Zhu family won't drag you down. Let's wait and see. The Zhu family elder hollered back, unable to bear the agitation. I hope so. Lung Ruoxia smiled nonchalantly. Do it. Lung Ruoxia ordered as she looked at the disgusting bugs. The moment Lung Ruoxia finished speaking, the Ming family moved together. With the cooperation of the two teams, the number of bugs quickly decreased by a third. Grandpa, I found that the bugs in this level seem to be very easy to deal with, but there are just too many of them. Lung Ruoxia took the opportunity to send a voice transmission to Lung Qingtian. Yes, Grandpa also discovered it, Lung Qingtian replied. He continuously unleashed his spiritual skills, immediately killing large numbers of bugs. Do the Zhu family like to watch the commotion so much? Lung Ruoxia's beautiful eyes glanced at the Zhu family members standing by the side in a daze, her face full of disdain. Hee, Miss Lung, the Zhu family has always been like this. Don't count on them, Ming Huan added oil to the fire. Oh, I see. Lung Ruoxia's face was full of realization. Damn girl, we are not such people. The Zhu family elder roared furiously. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and attack, lest the woman looks down on us. The Zhu family elder shouted at the people around him. Chapter 282. I want the 10,000-year-old fire lotus too? Oh. The Zhu family members seemed to have only reacted at this moment. They hurriedly used their spiritual skills to kill the bugs. In the secret room, colorful spiritual skills were flying all over the sky. Wherever these spiritual skills went, countless bugs died or were injured. About half an hour later, they killed all the bugs, but the mechanical voice did not appear. Swear there's something wrong, isn't there? Lung Ruhan couldn't help asking. Logically speaking, that voice should have appeared after they killed all the bugs. But probably because we haven't completed the task yet. Everyone be alert. Lung Ruoxia said after some thought. Just as everyone was feeling puzzled, countless more bugs emerged from the ground. Moreover, their numbers and strength were at least twice as strong as the previous batch. Let's begin. Lung Ruoxua said helplessly and attacked first. Lass, how long do we have to fight? Old Zhao couldn't help asking. He had not exercised his old bones like this for a long time. Boo. So tiring. Fight until that voice appears, Lung Ruoxua said calmly. If there were no outsiders here, she would have released all her beasts long ago. Alas! Fighting is so physically demanding. Old Man exclaimed. An hour later, everyone worked together and eliminated all the bugs again, but the voice still didn't appear. Damn it! What's the meaning of this? Someone from the Zhu family cursed. Swear, haven't we completed the task yet? Lung Qingtian was puzzled. This lousy task was too tormenting. Fortunately, they had pills, and their spiritual power recovered quickly. Otherwise, they would definitely be exhausted to death if this continued. Grandpa, don't worry. We will complete it, Lung Ruoxua comforted. After a while, countless bugs swarmed up from the ground again. The number this time was twice as many as before. Lung Ruoxua looked at the densely packed bugs and snorted in her heart. Spirit of the mystic realm, this better be the last time. Otherwise, I will destroy this place. Let's do it, Lung Ruoxua said coldly. Before Lung Ruoxua finished speaking, everyone impatiently started killing the bugs. They raised their hands and slashed down, and spiritual power flew everywhere. The bugs died one after another. Moreover, everyone attacked ruthlessly. Clearly, they were venting the anger they had been accumulating for a long time on the unlucky bugs. After a while, when everyone eliminated all the bugs again, the mechanical voice finally appeared. Congratulations on passing the 4th level. Each of you will obtain 5,000 points. Now, you can go to the next level. Even though there are still 2 portals, you don't have to make a choice because they will transport you to the same place. Ha! The mechanical voice laughed hysterically. Lung Ruoxua held back her anger and looked at everyone around her. In that case, let's go. Let's go. Lung Qingtian and the others nodded and stepped into the portal together. After the light flashed and disappeared, Lung Ruoxua and the others were teleported to the last level of the desert labyrinth. Lung Ruoxua looked at the environment in front of her. This secret room should be the largest in the entire labyrinth. In the corner of the secret room, there were also 2 golden portals, and 2 teams were already waiting here. The people from the 2 teams were stunned when they saw Lung Ruoxia's team, but they quickly recovered and nodded at them in a friendly manner. After Lung Ruoxia's team arrived, Ming Huan's and the Zhu family's teams also arrived. I'm very happy that you all reached the last level of the desert labyrinth safe and sound. This last level is the most difficult one in the entire labyrinth. In addition, only 3 out of your 5 teams can leave the labyrinth safely, the mechanical voice said excitedly. What do you mean by only 3 teams can leave safely? Ming Huan asked in puzzlement. Only 3 teams can get out alive, the mechanical voice explained. Then those who can't get out will die here? Lung Ruoxua frowned slightly. Yes, 2 other teams must die. But it's up to you who lives and who dies, the mechanical voice said, trying to shift the blame. Do you mean that you want us 5 teams to kill each other? Lung Ruoxua asked coldly. Yes, haha. This is the rule of the labyrinth. There are only 3 rewards for the last level. The mechanical voice laughed irresponsibly. What if only 1 team survives in the end? The Zhu family elder suddenly asked. Then all the rewards will belong to the living team, of course, the mechanical voice said matter-of-factly. Tell me about the rewards first. Lung Ruoxua said. This was what she was most concerned about. Aha. Alright, the first among you will obtain 2 sacred artifacts, 1 offensive and 1 defensive. Second place will obtain 2 divine beasts, and you can contract them directly without needing to tame them. Third place will obtain a 10,000-year-old fire lotus, the mechanical voice explained. There's actually a 10,000-year-old fire lotus. Great. It seemed that the spirit of the mystic realm was not lying to her. It was indeed what she wanted the most. But she only needed a 1,000-year-old one. Would a 10,000-year-old one be a problem? As an alchemist, she was very clear that the older the medicinal herbs, the higher the grade, and the better the quality of the concocted pills. However, pills of excellent quality might not be what she needed because both pills and spirit fruits had to be at the same level as the consumer to consume them without any danger. Therefore, she was a little worried whether the pills concocted by a 10,000-year-old fire lotus would be useful to Freak. Swear a 10,000-year-old fire lotus will work, the little silver mink said anxiously. He was so excited. Ooh. I didn't expect to find a 10,000-year-old fire lotus here. This is great. I finally don't have to stay in this mink's body anymore. Chapter 283. I want the 10,000-year-old fire lotus 3. Are you sure? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help asking. The effects of pills concocted from medicinal herbs that were 1,000 years and 10,000 years were different. If Freak consumed one, he might not be able to bear the power of the pill, causing his body to explode in a violent death. This wasn't the result she wanted. Yes, I'm sure. The little silver mink nodded vigorously. 1,000-year-old fire lotus was the lowest requirement. And of course, a 10,000-year-old one was better. But a 10,000-year-old fire lotus was not easy to find. So a 1,000-year-old one was acceptable. All right. Then I must obtain the 10,000-year-old fire lotus, Lung Ruoxue said with determination. Lass, if the 10,000-year-old fire lotus is the reward for third place, wouldn't we be getting third place? Old Zhao said helplessly. With their strength, they could get first place without a problem. But this girl just had to get third place. Wasn't this too much? However, the rewards for first and second place were indeed useless to them. Only alchemists could use the reward for third place, and others obtaining it would just be for decoration. Third place is of course the best, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. She didn't want to start a killing spree unless necessary, so these people had better be sensible and not compete for it with her. Otherwise, she would make them regret coming to this world. So what if our hands are covered in blood in order to save Freak? Miss Lung, shall we join forces? Ming Huan suddenly sent a voice transmission to Lung Ruoxue. Although Lung Ruoxue's team had the least number of people, Ming Huan absolutely didn't dare to underestimate them. The strength and ruthlessness they had just displayed in the 4th level had deeply shocked him. Of the 5 teams present, the first 2 to arrive had obviously reached some sort of agreement, and the Zhu family also had the idea of monopolizing all the rewards. So they had to find an ally for themselves. Only in this way would the chance of survival be higher. Among the few teams here, only Lung Ruoxue's team was the most suitable for them. Therefore, he took the initiative to request to join forces. Yes, but I want the 10,000-year-old fire lotus. Lung Ruoxue directly stated her request. No problem, Ming Huan answered readily. Although a 10,000-year-old fire lotus was precious, it wasn't useful at all to them. Instead, he was more interested in the sacred artifacts or divine beasts. After a moment of silence, the mechanical voice said, Haha, you can start fighting now. None of the 5 teams attacked first but instead observed each other. Miss Lung, which team should we fight first? Ming Huan asked via voice transmission. The Zhu family, of course, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. The Zhu family elder's question just now had probably angered the other 2 teams. It might be what they were all thinking, but at such a sensitive time, whoever raised it first would become everyone's eyesore. Okay, Ming Huan agreed. The Zhu family was the Ming family's biggest rival. They would benefit the most by getting rid of the Zhu family. Let's wait and see first, Lung Ruoxue reminded. Okay. Ming Huan led his team back a few steps and stayed in a corner. In the middle of the secret room, only the 2 teams that arrived first and the Zhu family were left. The leaders of the 2 teams looked at Lung Ruoxue, Ming Huan, and the others in the corner, exchanged glances, and then launched an attack against the Zhu family together. The reason they attacked the Zhu family first was not only for the question just now, but also because the Zhu family was the largest and most powerful among the 5 teams. So they unanimously believed that the Zhu family was their greatest enemy. As for Lung Ruoxue, Ming Huan, and the others, they didn't take them seriously at all. Damn it. How dare you attack our Zhu family? The Zhu family elder roared furiously. He originally wanted to let them kill each other first, But he never expected that his team would become the first target. The three teams quickly got into a brawl, while Leng Ruoxue, Ming Huan, and the others simply sat on the ground and watched the tigers fight on the mountain. Miss Leng, those two teams are very strong. Ming Huan transmitted his voice while watching the battle. Yes, the Zhu family isn't weak either. Leng Ruoxue replied. There were more than 30 people in the two teams, with nearly 20 spiritual supremacies. On the surface, they seemed to have the upper hand. But no one could guarantee that the Zhu family didn't have any trump cards. After all, the fact that so many people from the Zhu family could enter was enough to illustrate the problem. Swear after they deal with the Zhu family, they should turn to deal with us, right? Leng Qingtian said while looking at the situation on the battlefield. Okay, let's prepare. Leng Ruoxue reminded and turned her gaze to the three teams. In the battle, the three teams had already suffered casualties, with the Zhu family suffering the greatest. There were originally 25 people, but only 5 remained. 4 of them were seriously injured, and only the Zhu family elder was still hanging on. You pieces of trash, I will make you regret it. The Zhu family elder looked at his opponents with hatred in his eyes, and then chose to self-explode. Leng Ruoxue was quick-witted. When she felt that something was amiss, she swiftly set up a barrier to protect herself and her group. When Ming Huan realized what was happening, he hurriedly took out a defensive sacred artifact to isolate the blast of the Zhu family elder's self-explosion. They were unscathed, but the two teams in the middle of the self-explosion were not so lucky. Although the spiritual supremacies in the two teams were still alive, they were all seriously injured. Those below spiritual supremacy, including the 4 remaining people from the Zhu family, were all brought away by the Zhu family elder to meet their maker. Leng Ruoxue, Ming Huan, and the others stood up and walked to the center of the secret room. Ming Huan, don't you think we should thank Elder Zhe? Leng Ruoxue said regretfully as she looked at the nearly 20 spiritual supremacies who were still alive, but covered in wounds. Yes, we should thank him. But we should thank Zhu Feng even more. If he didn't die early, the Zhu family wouldn't have disappeared so quickly, Ming Huan said happily. Zhu Feng carried the Zhu family's secret weapon. If he hadn't died first, the Zhu family wouldn't have been destroyed so quickly. Chapter 284. I want the 10,000-year-old fire lotus for. Yes, that makes sense. Leng Ruoxue nodded in agreement. That pighead had become scared silly after being taught a lesson by her silver wolves. Afterward, he was the first to die in battle. Alas! He was a young master after all, but he died before he could even perform well. How pitiful! Do you want to take advantage of our perilous situation? A middle-aged man couldn't help asking Leng Ruoxue and the others. Don't worry. I won't take advantage of you. Leng Ruoxue comforted with a smile. She turned to Ming Huan's team. Ming Huan, I'll leave these people to you. Men don't have to care too much about their reputation. When the middle-aged man first heard Leng Ruoxue's words, he felt relieved. But the explanation she gave afterward made him so angry that he vomited blood. A few drops of cold sweat dripped down Ming Huan's and the others' foreheads, and they couldn't help feeling uncomfortable in their hearts. Great miss. Men also care about their reputation. Take advantage of his injuries and take his life. Why don't you hurry up and attack? We will be the ones dying when they recover. Leng Ruoxue reminded very kindly. Do it. Ming Huan ordered coldly. With Ming Huan's order, the entire Ming family took action and sent all the survivors of these two teams to hell. Then they took the initiative to clean up the battlefield. Well done, Leng Ruoxue praised. Killing 3 teams without even needing to do it herself felt pretty good. Thank you for the compliment, Ming Huan said cooperatively with 2 drops of cold sweat dripping down his forehead. Young master, we've collected the spoils of war, one of Ming Huan's subordinates reported. Miss Leng, shall we split the spoils equally? Ming Huan asked very politely. I have no objections, Leng Ruoxue said indifferently. She didn't care about spoils of war at all. The only thing she cared about was the 10,000-year-old fire lotus. Hey, we only have 2 teams now. Come out now. Leng Ruoxue shouted into the void. Miss Leng. Ming Huan was at a loss for words. This Lung Ruoxue was really too formidable. She actually demanded that the other come out now. Alas! Who would come out just because she said so? But the truth surprised him. Damn girl! What are you shouting for? You haven't decided who won yet, the mechanical voice said with slight displeasure. We've already decided. I'm third. Quick, give me the 10,000-year-old fire lotus. Lung Ruoxue urged loudly without any trace of politeness. All right. Here catch. The mechanical voice said strangely. Damn it. I want the 10,000-year-old fire lotus. What the hell is this? Lung Ruoxue looked at the reward that appeared out of thin air in her hand and felt depressed. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes stared hard at the little thing in her hand that was less than the size of an adult's palm. She was extremely depressed. Don't tell me this is the 10,000-year-old fire lotus. This is obviously a kitten. And it's a kitten that hasn't opened its eyes yet. The kitten in her hand was entirely fiery red and covered in fluffy fur. On its small head was a red fire lotus the size of a fingernail. Its nose, mouth, and little claws were all pink and tender. Lung Ruoxue's face was full of doubts as she looked at the small fire lotus that couldn't be any smaller. She pondered in her heart. Could this small fire lotus be the 10,000-year-old fire lotus, and this cat is a free gift? Lung Qingtian and the others were also puzzled along with Lung Ruoxue. Why is it a cat? Is the spirit of the mystic realm messing with us? Is this the 10,000-year-old fire lotus? Ming Huan asked curiously. Was he seeing things? The 10,000-year-old fire lotus was obviously a plant, but this was clearly a small animal. This is a cat, right? Lung Ruhan asked uncertainly. This is a cat. Lung Ruoxue suppressed her anger. Butterfly flapped its wings and flew over. Girl, don't be angry. This is really a 10,000-year-old fire lotus. Do you think I don't know what a cat looks like? Lung Ruoxue roared furiously. Girl, it's already a 10,000-year-old fire lotus. Of course it might be in this state. Moreover, it's not a cat. It's the spirit of the 10,000-year-old fire lotus, Butterfly quickly explained. It was a sprite, so its senses couldn't be wrong. The spirit of the 10,000-year-old fire lotus is actually a cat? Feng Moran said in disbelief. This was too magical. Are you sure? Ball, what do you think? Lung Ruoxue didn't really believe Butterfly and turned to ask Ball, who was lying on her shoulder. Yes, I'm very sure, Butterfly promised. Big sister, it's a treasure, Ball said with certainty as he looked at the red kitten in Lung Ruoxue's hand. At this moment, the kitten in Lung Ruoxue's hand suddenly opened its eyes. Its big pink eyes were moist and shiny, unbelievably beautiful. The kitten sniffed around with its pink nose, then raised its head and called Lung Ruoxue sweetly, Mommy. The word mommy shocked Lung Ruoxue so much that she broke out in a cold sweat. She instinctively swung her arm, throwing the red kitten into the air. Everyone couldn't help exclaiming as they broke out in cold sweat for the little guy in their hearts. Suddenly, a red figure soared into the sky and caught the kitten who was about to fall to the ground. That was close. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Mommy. The kitten's beautiful pink eyes were full of tears as he looked at Lung Ruoxue pitifully. Boo, does Mommy hate me? I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Lung Ruoxue felt a little guilty. She took the cat with tears in his eyes from Feng Zhan. She was just shocked. Does Mommy hate little fire? The kitten said sadly as tears welled up in his eyes. I don't hate you, Lung Ruoxue quickly coaxed. A few drops of cold sweat rolled down her forehead unconsciously, and she sighed in her heart. Ooh, why do I always have to coax children? Does Mommy like little fire? The little kitten asked stubbornly. I like you, Lung Ruoxue said honestly. This little fellow was indeed quite cute, but she would like him more if he didn't call her Mommy. Chapter 285. Awakening. The tofu near my lips disappeared. 1. Little fire likes Mommy too, the kitten said happily. Little fire. Can you not call me Mommy? Lung Ruoxue was at a loss for words. Boo. I'm not married yet. Why? Mommy is the first person I saw when I opened my eyes, so you are my mother, Little Fire said stubbornly. Little Fire, you can call me Big Sister. Lung Ruoxua coaxed patiently. Little Fire doesn't want to. Mommy is mommy. Boo. Mommy hates Little Fire. Tears welled up in Little Fire's eyes and dripped onto the ground like pearls. Okay, don't cry. If you continue crying, I really won't want you anymore, Lung Ruoxua threatened, feeling a little headache. I won't cry anymore. Mommy, don't abandon me. Little Fire quickly stopped crying and lay on Lung Ruoxua's palm obediently. Good. Lung Ruoxua caressed Little Fire's soft fur. Haha, damn girl. I've given you the 10,000-year-old fire lotus you wanted. You have to take good care of it. The mechanical voice sounded a little smug. Don't worry. I'll take good care of it, Lung Ruoxua said through gritted teeth. What about our other rewards? Lung Ruoxua asked. Each of you will receive 25,000 points. This is the reward for the top 2. Also, you can scram now. A ring floated to Ming Huan's hand, and then the mechanical voice completely disappeared. Miss Lung, we have divided the rewards for first and second equally, Ming Huan said. No need. We don't need them. But I want to know what those 2 divine beasts are. Lung Ruoxua said curiously. Let me see. Ming Huan dripped a drop of blood onto the ring, and then sent his divine sense inside. It's a snake and a scorpion, Ming Huan said after looking at them. The Snake King and the Scorpion King? Lung Ruoxua narrowed her beautiful eyes coldly. Yes, Ming Huan answered fearfully, but he was puzzled. Does Lung Ruoxua have a feud with these 2 beasts? Ming Huan, I need some snake venom and scorpion venom. Let them out to spit some out for me. Lung Ruoxua said with a light smile. Okay. Ming Huan knew that he had taken the biggest advantage, so he couldn't refuse Lung Ruoxua's small request. Ming Huan released the Snake King and the Scorpion King from the ring. But for some reason, the 2 beasts felt fear in their hearts as they looked at Lung Ruoxua not far away. Lung Ruoxua took out 2 small jade bottles, placed them in front of the 2 beasts, and commanded in a tone that accepted no refusal. Fill my bottles with your poison. The 2 beasts looked at each other, but neither of them moved. Didn't you hear what my master said? Feng Zhan's dark red phoenix eyes narrowed with displeasure. Yes, sir. The 2 beasts were terrified, and they were resigned to their fates as they began to spit out the venom. Schwer, why can these small bottles of yours hold so much? Lung Ruhan whispered in puzzlement. The Snake King and the Scorpion King had been spitting for 2 hours, and they were so tired that they were about to collapse. But the small jade bottles were still not full. It was too unbelievable. Of course it's because they were refined with a special technique. There is basically a space inside, Lung Ruoxua explained simply. Upon hearing what his sister said, Lung Ruhan felt some pity for the Snake King and the Scorpion King. Alas! How pitiful! But your subordinates offended our little princess. Serves you right for suffering. Another hour later, the Snake King and the Scorpion King were still spitting venom into the jade bottles. Alright, that's enough. Seems like you won't be able to fill them, Lung Ruoxua said with some dissatisfaction. Her face was full of contempt, as though she was saying, You're really too useless. Upon hearing that they didn't need to spit anymore, the 2 beasts collapsed onto the ground while panting heavily from exhaustion. If not for the fact that they were really too tired, Lung Ruoxua's words would definitely have made them vomit blood. Helplessly, Ming Huan stored the 2 exhausted divine beasts back into his ring, and then said to Lung Ruoxua, Miss Lung, let's go. Okay, please go first, Lung Ruoxua said politely. Farewell. Ming Huan nodded at Lung Ruoxua and the others before leaving with his team. Grandpa, shall we leave? Lung Ruoxua asked after Ming Huan and his team left. Let's go. Lung Qingtian nodded. Everyone walked toward the teleportation array together. Lass, which one should we choose? Old Zhao asked curiously, not knowing where their next destination would be. Right, Lung Ruoxua said after some thought. Since Ming Huan's team chose the left one, they had to choose the right one. After choosing, everyone set off. After another flash of light, Lung Ruoxua and the others were transported to a mountain range. Butterfly flew in front of Lung Ruoxua and said happily, Girl, a mountain range isn't bad. Yes. Lung Ruoxua nodded. She looked at the steep mountain range shrouded in white mist from halfway up the mountains, which towered into the clouds, and a feeling of heroism welled up in her. Grandpa, let's spend the night outside the mountains. We'll go in early tomorrow. Lung Ruoxue said to Lung Qingtian, and the others after some thought. Okay. We've been hungry for some time. Lung Qingtian nodded in agreement. After everyone went back into the bracelet, they had dinner, and then returned to their rooms to rest. Holding the little mink in her arms, Lung Ruoxue entered the purple bamboo house. Lung Ruoxue's mood was very complicated as she looked at Freak lying on the purple jade bed. Schwer, what's wrong? The little silver mink couldn't help asking when he saw that she was a little down. I want to save Freak, Lung Ruoxue said slowly after a while. With the 10,000-year-old fire lotus, he can wake up as long as you concoct a fire lotus pill. The little silver mink said happily. Boo. I can finally wake up. It really wasn't easy. Chapter 286. Awakening. The tofu near my lips disappeared too. But the 10,000-year-old fire lotus is actually... Lung Ruoxue was at a loss. The spirit of the 10,000-year-old fire lotus was already born and looked so cute, so she really couldn't do it. Schwer, he won't wake up without the fire lotus pill. The little silver mink pointed at Freak. You're right. Freak is more important to me. Lung Ruoxue steeled her heart. Little fire, I'm sorry. I can only sacrifice you for him. After making up her mind, Lung Ruoxue left the purple bamboo house to find Little Fire. Mommy. Seeing Lung Ruoxue, Little Fire immediately dashed over and threw himself into her arms, acting coquettishly. Little Fire, what are you doing? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. They were playing with me, and they even told me a lot about Mommy. Little Fire said in a childish voice while pointing at Fengda and the others. Oh. Lung Ruoxue responded lightly and looked at Fengda and the others with some displeasure. Miss, we're going to bed. Fengda and the others saw Lung Ruoxue's unfriendly gaze and quickly escaped in fright. Mom, do you need Little Fire to concoct a pill? Little Fire asked, his pure and clear pink eyes looking at Lung Ruoxue without blinking. Lung Ruoxue didn't expect Little Fire to ask this question. For a moment, she didn't know how to answer. She needed Little Fire to concoct the fire lotus pill, and she had already made up her mind. But seeing Little Fire's simple and cute appearance, she couldn't bear to. Boo. What should I do? Mommy, Little Fire wants to save Daddy. Use Little Fire to concoct the pill. Little Fire said seriously with tears in his eyes, his beautiful pink eyes full of reluctance. Little Fire. Lung Ruoxue's eyes welled up with tears. She didn't expect Little Fire to take the initiative to sacrifice himself. She couldn't be cruel to a cute little fellow like Little Fire, even though she didn't care about her hands being covered in blood for the sake of Freak. The little mink, who was following Lung Ruoxue, was a little touched to hear that Little Fire was willing to sacrifice himself to save him, especially since the little fellow actually called him Daddy. He really didn't know how to describe his feelings. Am I really going to sacrifice this little thing? He was also hesitant. He admitted that this little fellow calling him Daddy softened his usually cold heart. In fact, thinking about it carefully, even though he couldn't return to his body now, he was at least alive and had not separated from Schwer. If this little thing was really concocted into the pill, he wouldn't be able to survive. Schwer, why don't we look for another fire lotus? The little silver mink said with some hesitation. Alas! He should be soft-hearted for once on the account that the little fellow called him Daddy. Mommy, Little Fire is the best fire lotus, so use Little Fire. Little Fire said. He had already decided that he liked his mommy so much. Little Fire, do you understand what alchemy is? Lung Ruoxue asked with tears in her beautiful eyes. I know. As a heavenly material and earthly treasure, I'm very clear about my destiny. I'm very happy that Mommy can concoct me into a pill. Little Fire raised his fluffy little head, his face full of reluctance. Little Fire, you will die if I concoct you into the pill. Lung Ruoxue couldn't help reminding. I know, but even though Little Fire will die, Daddy can live again. Little Fire said happily. He wanted to save his father. Little fire. Lung Ruoxua was speechless. Big sister. Qingju suddenly appeared in front of them. Qingju, what's the matter? Lung Ruoxua looked up at Qingju. Big sister, he doesn't need to die. You only need a drop of his blood to concoct the fire lotus pill, Qingju said. After observing the spirit of the 10,000-year-old fire lotus for a long time, he finally confirmed his suspicion. Really? Lung Ruoxua and the little mink looked at Qingju together. Yes, he isn't an ordinary 10,000-year-old fire lotus, Qingju said mysteriously. Hee, big sister is so lucky. She even obtained something so good. There are actually ordinary 10,000-year-old fire lotuses? Lung Ruoxua felt that she was too ignorant. Boo. Of course there are. Fire lotuses of 10,000 years, 100,000 years, and even 1,000,000 years are all collectively called 10,000-year-old fire lotuses, Qingju explained with a smile. Looking at her expression, he knew that she was conflicted again. Oh, little fire, how old are you? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. After knowing that little fire didn't need to die, she immediately composed herself. It's been a long time. Little fire can't remember. Little fire said gloomily. Oh, it's okay. Lung Ruoxua caressed little fire's fur. Little fire, give mommy a drop of your blood. Lung Ruoxua continued. She couldn't wait to concoct the fire lotus pill. Okay. Little fire happily stretched out his little pink paw and handed it to Lung Ruoxua. Lung Ruoxua took out a special jade bottle, condensed her spiritual power into a needle, and quickly pricked little fire's tender paw. She squeezed out a drop of blood and dripped it into the jade bottle. All right, little fire. Thank you, Lung Ruoxua said as she caressed little fire's head. Little fire is very happy to be able to help mommy. Little fire smiled happily, and his bright and watery pink eyes narrowed into a line. Qingju, I'll leave little fire to you. Big sister will go concoct the pill. Lung Ruoxua handed little fire to Qingju, and then walked toward the alchemy room in the purple bamboo house. Little fire, I'll bring you to replenish your blood. With that, Qingju disappeared with little fire in his arms. After they left, the little silver mink hopped onto a stone table not far from the purple bamboo house, and lay down with his eyes glued to the purple bamboo house. In the alchemy room of the purple bamboo house, Lung Ruoxua took out the pill formula again, and looked at it carefully before concocting the pill. The fire lotus pill was an advanced pill. Although it was her first time concocting it, it wasn't difficult for her. She lit the furnace and waited for it to heat up. Then she put the medicinal herbs she had prepared in advance into the furnace one by one. She waited for all the herbs to dissolve into liquid before she dripped little fire's blood into the furnace. Little fire's blood quickly fused with the medicinal liquid. Then it was time to purify and condense the pill. Chapter 287. Awakening. The tofu near my lips disappeared. 3. After the pill formed, the fragrance of the fire lotus pill wafted through the entire alchemy room. Lung Ruoxua opened the alchemy furnace and saw dozens of red pills in the middle. Moreover, each pill was like a ruby dripping with blood, round, plump, and translucent. Lung Ruoxua collected the pills into a jade bottle and counted them. She didn't expect there to be more than 80 pills. This really surprised her. But she guessed that it should be due to little fire's blood. Otherwise, it would be impossible to concoct so many pills. After putting away the pills, Lung Ruoxua left the alchemy room and came to the side of Freek's bed. Freek, you can finally wake up, Lung Ruoxua murmured softly. She took out a fire lotus pill and placed it on Freek's lips. The moment the fire lotus pill touched Freek's lips, the heat of the pill immediately melted the thin ice covering his lips. Lung Ruoxua took the opportunity to send the pill into his mouth. After a while, the thin ice on his body began to melt. After a while, the cold poison in his body was forced out bit by bit. After a long while, his eyelids twitched slightly, but he still didn't wake up. Standing by the bed, Lung Ruoxua stared unblinkingly at Freek on the bed. Her entire heart was in her throat. Why isn't he awake yet? Lung Ruoxua waited anxiously. She clearly saw him move just now. After a long while, Freek finally opened his eyes. Schwer, Freek called out softly. Boo. I'm finally back. Freak. Lung Ruoxua threw herself into his arms excitedly and hugged him tightly. Tears kept flowing out of her eyes like pearls from a broken string. Schwer, don't cry. Freak stretched out his arms and held Schwer tightly in his arms. It was great. He was finally able to hug Schwer again. But it did feel good to be in Schwer's arms every day when he was a little mink. After a while, Lung Ruoxua stopped crying and threatened fiercely. Damn Freak, if you dare to leave me again, I'll teach you a lesson. Schwer, when did I leave you? I've always been by your side. But I was a little mink, he added in his mind. I don't care. Anyway, you're not allowed to leave me again. Lung Ruoxua roared domineeringly. Yes, my dear wife, Freak said fearfully, like a little wife. Wife. I'm so hungry. Freak said coquettishly. Hungry? What do you want to eat? Lung Ruoxua asked. He must be hungry after sleeping for so long. Can I eat whatever I want? Freak asked and blinked his watery black eyes, his face full of anticipation. Okay. Tell me what you want to eat, and I'll make it for you. Lung Ruoxua said very seriously. Then, I want to eat tofu one. Freak smiled like a cunning little fox, his bright black eyes blinking rapidly. Okay, wait for me. Lung Ruoxua ran out. Freak looked at his empty arms and asked in puzzlement. Schwer, where are you going? Lung Ruoxua left the purple bamboo house and went straight to their makeshift kitchen. In the kitchen, Lung Ruoxua stared at the tofu she just took out and calmed her heartbeat. Damn Freak. He wanted to take advantage of me the moment he woke up. In fact, she understood what Freak meant. It was just that she was a pure and innocent child in both her previous and current lives. Moreover, no man had dared to take advantage of her, but Freak had never let go of any opportunity. However, she would never admit that she was shy just now. Want to take advantage of me? I'll let you have your fill then. Lung Ruoxua prepared a tofu feast and brought it to Freak. Schwer, what does this mean? Freak looked at the plates of tofu in front of him and felt cold sweat flowing down his back. Boo-hoo, is Schwer messing with me? He didn't like this tofu at all. In fact, the food he hated the most was tofu, and the only tofu he liked was Schwer's. These are all tofu. There are all sorts of flavors. You will definitely be satisfied. Lung Ruoxua smiled charmingly. Hee, the way Freak behaves when he fails is pretty cute. Schwer, I don't want to eat this tofu, Freak said with a bitter face. He might as well make it clear so that Schwer wouldn't pretend to be confused. What tofu do you want to eat? Tell me, and I'll make it for you. Lung Ruoxua said very patiently. I want to eat your tofu, Freak said softly while looking at Lung Ruoxua affectionately. Oh, these are my tofu. I made all these. Lung Ruoxua continued to play dumb, but her heart was racing faster and faster. Freak took a deep breath, stretched out his long arms, and directly embraced Lung Ruoxua, who was very close to him. Schwer, cooperate with me obediently. I'll just kiss you once. I promise I won't touch you randomly. Freak coaxed as he slowly lowered his head. Mommy, is Daddy awake? A childish voice sounded in their ears just as his lips were less than a centimeter away from Lung Ruoxua's pink lips. Mommy, what are you doing? Little Fire looked curiously at the two people hugging each other, his beautiful pink eyes full of puzzlement. Not suitable for children. Lung Ruoxua hurriedly covered Little Fire's eyes and jumped out of Freak's arms. Damn it. I was tempted by Freak just now. Boo. The composure I'm so proud of. With a face full of anger, Freak looked at Little Fire, who was his savior and a little third wheel. He didn't know whether to thank him or to give him a good beating. Boo. The tofu near my lips disappeared. Schwer will definitely be more alert in the future. Boo. Lung Ruoxua looked at the depressed-looking Freak and couldn't help laughing in her heart. In fact, it was not that she didn't want Freak to kiss her. It was just that she wasn't ready yet. Yes, she was just not ready. She was definitely not shy. No way. One eating tofu means to take advantage of a woman. Chapter 288. Awakening. The tofu near my lips disappeared for Little Fire, he's Daddy, Lung Ruoxua said as she unshielded Little Fire's eyes. Daddy, hee, you're finally awake. Great. Little Fire said happily. Little Fire, thank you for saving Daddy. Freak was bribed again the moment he called him Daddy, especially since Schwer personally introduced him as such. Hee. Little Fire just smiled foolishly. Big sister. Qingju appeared in front of them awkwardly. It's not good to interrupt someone. Qingju, why are you here? Lung Ruoxua asked in puzzlement. Hee, big sister, am not the only one. Qingju pointed outside. Lung Ruoxua looked out of the window and found that her door was suddenly full of people. Her grandfather and the others were all here. Didn't they say they were going to sleep? Lung Ruoxua turned to look at Freak. Freak, Grandpa and the others are outside. Let's go out. Okay, Freak said helplessly. My two-person world is gone just like that. Lung Ruoxua held back her smile and walked out with the depressed Freak. Grandpa. Freak called out warmly when he saw Lung Qingtian. Good. It's good that you're awake, Lung Qingtian said happily. Alas. Seeing Yichen awake, he was finally at ease. Brat Yi, you slept long enough, Old Man teased. Yes, it was long enough. Freak nodded. That was why he wanted to spend time with her alone. Boo. Haha, it's good that you're awake. Yichen, you have no idea. We thought you were dead. At that time, Ruoxua was very sad. Lin Liang said. Grandpa Lin. Lung Ruoxia's cheeks burned slightly. Haha, even Ruoxua knows how to be shy. Lin Liang laughed out loud. Everyone laughed happily. Freak glanced at Lung Ruoxua and couldn't help laughing. Hee, Schwer is so cute. Schwer, why are you pinching me? Freak asked Lung Ruoxua with an aggrieved look. Who asked you to laugh? Lung Ruoxua said angrily. Everyone laughed. Freak whispered with tears in his eyes. Even if everyone laughs, you are not allowed to laugh, Lung Ruoxua said domineeringly. Whose sake was it for anyway? Schwer, I'm just happy. His eyes shining, Freak stretched out his long arms and hugged Lung Ruoxia's waist. Let go. Everyone's here. Lung Ruoxua was a little embarrassed and wanted to break free from Freak's grasp, but he hugged her tightly. They're all gone, Freak said delightedly. Hee, those third wheels are pretty sensible. When did they leave? Lung Ruoxua looked up and found that everyone was indeed gone. They naturally left after they laughed enough. Freak said matter-of-factly. Lung Ruoxua suddenly thought of the little mink and said to Freak. Oh right. I know you didn't die because a little mink told me, so that little mink is also your savior. Oh okay, Freak said half-heartedly. That little mink was me too. Where did the little mink go? Lung Ruoxua looked around for the little silver mink, feeling puzzled. Doesn't the little mink love to pester me? Why did he disappear? Schwer, the little mink you mentioned seems to be there. Freak pointed at the corner to the right of the purple bamboo house. Little mink. Lung Ruoxua saw the silver fur patch in the corner, and hurriedly ran over, only to find the little silver mink lying on the ground. Schwer, he seems to be sleeping, Freak said with some understanding. Okay. Lung Ruoxua stretched out her arms and picked up the little mink off the ground. But Freak stopped her halfway through. Schwer, leave him to me. I'll take good care of him. Freak directly took the little mink from Lung Ruoxia's hands. Fine. But don't bully him. Lung Ruoxua warned. No, definitely not. Freak hurriedly promised. Freak, rest early today. I forgot to tell you that we're in the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm. We're entering the mountains early tomorrow morning. Lung Ruoxua reminded. She was about to leave, but Freak stopped her again. Schwer, let me kiss you. Freak looked at Lung Ruoxua pitifully and begged. Lung Ruoxia's heart softened as she said helplessly. Then close your eyes. Don't trick me. Freak reminded. He became much more vigilant with the lesson from last time. Lung Ruoxua suppressed her smile and nodded. Okay. Freak lowered the little mink in his arms to the ground and slowly closed his eyes in anticipation. Lung Ruoxua looked at his enchanting face and exclaimed in her heart, Alas! How can a man be so beautiful? Schwer, hurry up. Freak urged impatiently, his heart racing. Don't you dare open your eyes. Lung Ruoxua warned. Then she slowly stood on her toes and gently planted a kiss on his alluring red lips. The refreshing scent unique to Schwer wafted to his nose, causing him to instinctively extend his arms and pull Lung Ruoxua into his embrace, deepening the light kiss that was like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water. Her sweet and alluring lips captivated Freak. He couldn't help extending his tongue and licking them gently, but he still felt that it wasn't enough. His hot tongue carefully and gently parted Schwerner's sweet pink lips and slowly slipped in. When Freak hugged her, Lung Ruoxua immediately wanted to retreat. Unfortunately, Freak didn't give her any chance at all, and hugged her tightly. After an unknown amount of time, when Lung Ruoxua felt dizzy and almost suffocated, Freak finally stopped invading her pink lips. "You damn freak, you said just one kiss," Lung Ruoxua growled, her breath a little unstable. When she saw the smug expression on Freak's face, the anger in her heart didn't subside. Chapter 289. Encounter in the Snow Mountain 1. It was just once. Freak said aggrievedly. "Ah. I finally kissed her. It really wasn't easy." "You call that once?" Lung Ruoxua asked through gritted teeth. "What else?" Freak asked innocently. Heaven and earth could see that he really only kissed her once, but he did take his time kissing her. I'm ignoring you." Lung Ruoxua turned her head in anger. "Damn it. Why is my heart still beating so fast? Schwer, don't ignore me. At worst, I'll let you kiss me back." Freak hugged Lung Ruoxua from behind and tried to please her, but the expression on his face was very cunning. I'm not going to fall for that. I kissed you just now." Lung Ruoxua pouted her pink lips with slight dissatisfaction. "Then let me kiss you, and then you kiss me back, okay?" Freak suggested. I'm really too smart. Like this, I can kiss her again." "Okay," Lung Ruoxua agreed foolishly because she wanted him to kiss her again. The opportunity was fleeting. As soon as Freak heard Schwer agree, he turned her around without hesitation and kissed those pink and alluring lips again. After a long while, Freak reluctantly left Lung Ruoxua's sweet lips. Lung Ruoxua leaned into Freak's arms and calmed her heartbeat slightly. But the more she thought about it, the more she felt that something was amiss. "Freak, why do I feel like I'm at a disadvantage again?" Lung Ruoxua asked in a daze, her mind a mess. "Of course not. We kissed once each, so we're even." An enchanting fox-like smile appeared on his face. Schwer is really too cute. Seems like I have to kiss her more in the future." "Oh." Lung Ruoxua thought about it. "Seems like we're even, but something still feels amiss." "Alas. Forget it. I won't think about it. This man is mine anyway, and only I can kiss him. Freak, I'm sleepy." Lung Ruoxua yawned. "I'll take you back to your room to sleep." Freak carried Lung Ruoxua in his arms and headed straight for the purple bamboo house. After entering the purple bamboo house, Freak lay down on the bed with Lung Ruoxua in his arms. Freak, why are you lying down too?" Lung Ruoxua asked in puzzlement. "I'll accompany you," Freak said thoughtfully. I can't sleep without holding Schwer." "Oh," Lung Ruoxua murmured and closed her eyes. Soon she fell asleep. Freak looked at Lung Ruoxua foolishly. The next morning, when Lung Ruoxua woke up, Freak was still sleeping. "Schwer, when did you wake up?" Freak asked when he woke up and saw that she was already awake. "A while ago," Lung Ruoxua said softly. He hugged her too tightly, causing her to have no choice but to lie on the bed with him even though she was awake. "Freak, we have to get up," Lung Ruoxua reminded. "Alas, Grandpa and the others are already waiting outside." "Okay." Freak nodded and reluctantly loosened his arms. I want to hold Schwer in my arms all the time." After they got out of bed, they washed up and left the purple bamboo house. As soon as they emerged, Lung Ruoxua saw everyone's ambiguous expressions looking at the two of them and instantly blushed. She subconsciously explained, "We didn't do anything." Little girl, there's no need to explain. We're all experienced and we understand. Absolutely understand. Old Man was the first to speak. At the same time, he sighed in his heart. Alas, it's so good to be young. Ruoxua. We didn't say anything, Lin Liang also teased. What he meant was that she didn't need to explain. You didn't say anything, but it's written all over your faces, Lung Ruoxua grumbled in her head. But Ruoxua, you can't abandon him. You have to take responsibility for Yi Chun. Lin Liang continued. Yes, Schwer, you have to be responsible for me. Freak kept nodding, obviously in agreement with Lin Liang. Why am I responsible for him? Shouldn't men be responsible for women? Lung Ruoxua asked angrily. Why is it the other way around when it comes to me? It's all the same. Lin Liang said with a chuckle. Schwer, old Lin is right. Quickly marry Yi Chun. Lung Qingtian said very seriously. Grandpa, he is a man, Lung Ruoxua reminded speechlessly. I know. You can marry a man. Lung Qingshan's words were so natural that no one could find fault with them. Schwer, when are you marrying me? Freak asked shyly, blinking his shiny black eyes. I'll marry you on a good day, Lung Ruoxua roared with a dark face. Ooh, what kind of world is this? That's great. Grandpa will immediately choose a good day to hold your marriage, Lung Qingtian said anxiously. Grandpa, we're still in the creek of affinity mystic realm. Lung Ruoxua said weakly. Yes. Hee, I was so happy that I forgot, Lung Qingtian said embarrassedly. Since everyone is ready, let's go out. Lung Ruoxua brought everyone out of the bracelet. Fengda, you have to take care of yourselves, Lung Ruoxua said to Fengda and the others before entering the mountains. Miss, don't worry. We won't drag you down, Fengda promised. Lung Ruoxua nodded, and the group walked directly into the deep mountains. After entering the mountains, Lung Ruoxua found that she had been fooled again because it was basically a snow mountain. A thick layer of snow covered the entire mountain peak, and everywhere was white. Schwer, it's so cold here, Freak said coquettishly, his clear black eyes clearly saying, come and hug me. Then go back into the space and stay there. Lung Ruoxua rolled her eyes and feigned ignorance. Damn Freak. He didn't forget to act cute in front of so many people. So embarrassing. I don't want to. Chapter 290. Encounter in the Snow Mountain 2. Be good then. There are so many people here, Lung Ruoxua whispered. Schwer, if I behave, will there be a reward? Freak took the opportunity to state his condition. Yes. Okay, it'll definitely be good, Freak promised. Grandpa, there's a cave. Let's rest there today. Lung Ruoxua pointed to the cave entrance not far away. After walking for a day, they hadn't seen a single person, and she didn't know what kind of task they had to do here. Okay. Everyone walked toward the cave together. This place is pretty spacious, Lung Qingtian said after looking around the cave. The cave was enormous, about 3 meters high, and very clean. Okay. If anyone wants to enter the space, I'll send you in. If you don't want to, then let's camp here tonight, Lung Ruoxua said. They hadn't camped outside for a long time, and it felt good to experience camping occasionally, so she decided to sleep outside tonight. Schwer, Grandpa will sleep outside tonight, Lung Qingtian said. Just as Lung Qingtian finished speaking, Lin Liang and the other old men also said that they were going to spend the night outside tonight. But Fengda and the others wanted to return to the space to sleep, so Lung Ruoxua sent them directly into the bracelet. In the cave, Lung Ruoxua and the others lit a pile of firewood, took out some rabbit meat, and started grilling it. Rumble. Suddenly, a loud sound spread into the cave. What was that? Lung Ruoxua was puzzled. Probably a spirit beast. Lung Qingtian frowned. Is this the lair of some large spirit beast? At the same time, a tall, snow-white bear ran in and glared at them angrily. Humans, this is my home. Leave quickly. The giant white bear spoke human words. Ah! Cold sweat dripped down Lung Qingshan's forehead. He was right. Big white bear, it's getting late, and your place is big enough. Lend us the place to stay for the night. This food will be our lodging fee, Lung Ruoxua discussed. This bear should have a good temper. Otherwise, any other spirit beast would have already started fighting. The white bear thought for a while, and then nodded in agreement. This bear is pretty sensible, Old Zao whispered. Idiot, this bear is a divine beast. Would a divine beast possess a low IQ? Old Man said with some disdain. He really didn't expect that the first beast they encountered after entering the snow mountain was actually a divine beast. Stop bickering. You two are letting others laugh at you. Lin Liang said helplessly. Umph. The two old men snorted and stopped talking. Here, Big White Bear. Did you go out to look for food? Lung Ruoxua asked as she handed the white bear a piece of grilled rabbit meat. Yeah. The giant white bear took the grilled rabbit meat and slowly chewed on it. Why didn't you hibernate? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. It's summer now, the giant white bear replied while eating. Summer? Then why didn't I see a single spirit beast? Lung Ruoxua was puzzled. Spirit beasts have their own territory, and this is mine. Other spirit beasts don't dare to come here, the giant white bear explained. Ah. Then doesn't that mean you don't have food to eat? Lung Ruoxua said very sympathetically. Yeah. I'll have food if I can find some. If I can't, I will have to go hungry, the giant white bear said very honestly. Looking at the white bear who answered every question and was very polite. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxia's forehead. She sighed in her heart. It's really not easy for this bear to live well and become a divine beast. Why is he more well-behaved than Quill? How pitiful. Come have more. Old Zao handed over 2 pieces of grilled rabbit meat. Oh, this bear isn't bad. He suits my taste, hee. Thank you, the giant white bear said gratefully. Big White Bear, have you thought about leaving this place? Lung Ruoxua asked when she saw old Zao fawning over him. No, we can't leave this place unless we acknowledge humans as our masters. But there aren't many humans who can come here. Most importantly, there hasn't been anyone I took a liking to, the giant white bear said. Oh, can you tell me about the snow mountain? Lung Ruoxua probed. Sure. There are 2 divine beasts in this snow mountain. One is me, and the other is a snake. But that snake has a very bad temper, so you better be careful not to provoke it. Its territory is in the northern part of the snow mountain. There won't be much danger as long as you don't go there. The white bear was very cooperative and gave them a general overview of the mountain. Then do you know what task we need to complete in the snow mountain? Lung Ruoxua asked. I don't know. The giant white bear scratched his head embarrassedly with his big paw. Oh, thank you, Lung Ruoxua said very politely. Hee, you're welcome. The giant white bear smiled foolishly. Lung Ruoxua and the others finished dinner, set up their tents, and prepared to rest early. Big White Bear, we're going to bed first, Lung Ruoxua said after glancing at old Zao, who had been sticking to the giant white bear. Okay. The giant white bear nodded and continued chatting with old Zao. In the tent, Freak laid down beside Lung Ruoxua and asked curiously, Schwer, does old Zao want to take that big white bear? Probably. And according to my guess, the chance of success is very high, Lung Ruoxua said with a light smile. Freak, don't you have any spirit beasts you want? Lung Ruoxua asked. She remembered that he didn't have any spirit beast yet. Schwer, I have a spirit beast, but it's sleeping, Freak said mysteriously. Oh, I want to sleep too. Lung Ruoxua closed her eyes. Schwer, we haven't kissed yet, Freak murmured with displeasure on his face. He grumbled in his head. Why isn't Schwer curious about my spirit beast at all? Chapter 291. Encounter in the Snow Mountain 3. After a long while no one responded. Schwer'll kiss you. Freak slowly lowered his head. Lung Ruoxua opened her eyes, used her hand to block Freak's lips from coming closer, and ordered, Hurry up and sleep. Oh. Freak pecked Lung Ruoxia's palm lightly, and then lay down obediently. Hee, I knew Schwer was pretending to be asleep. The next morning, when Lung Ruoxua and the others woke up, they found snow falling on the snow mountain. The heavy snowfall lasted for 3 days, trapping them here. But during these 3 days, old Zao's relationship with the big white bear improved by leaps and bounds. The bear even agreed to acknowledge old Zao as his master and leave with them. Hee, looks like old Zao gained the most in the past few days, Lung Qingtian commented as he looked at old Zao having a heart-to-heart talk with the big white bear in the corner. It's obvious that the bear is too naive and too gullible, Old Man said eccentrically, his heart overflowing with sourness. What a strong smell of envy. You already have several divine beasts. Why are you still envious of him? Lin Liang asked, very puzzled. Old Man rolled his eyes at Lin Liang and said unpleasantly, none of your business. Damn, old man, did you eat gunpowder? Lin Liang said in doubt. What's wrong with him? He's really becoming more and more abnormal. Grandpa, the snow outside has stopped. Shall we go? Lung Ruoxua asked as she walked in from the cave entrance with Freak. Let's go. We've been stuck here for 3 days, Lung Qingtian said anxiously, not knowing if there was a time limit for the task here. Lung Ruoxua moved Fengda and the others out of the bracelet, and the group left. Lass, where are we going? Old Zhao asked curiously on the way. To find that snake. Lung Ruoxua said lightly. There were only 2 divine beasts on this snow mountain. Since the bear didn't know much, that snake should know more. No way? Big White said that the snake has a bad temper. Old Zhao muttered softly. Go back into the space if you're afraid. What are you blabbering about? Old Man said mockingly, his wrinkled face full of disdain. Damn it. Which eye of yours saw that I was afraid? Old Zhao immediately protested as though his tail had been stepped on. Are you done arguing? Lung Ruoxua asked with a spurious smile, the expression on her face unreadable. We weren't arguing, the 2 old men said in unison with great tacit understanding. Lung Ruoxua glanced at them lightly and then said to the transformed white bear. Big White, take us to that snake's territory. I have something to ask it. Okay. The white bear, sitting on old Zhao's shoulder, nodded in response. 2 hours later. Big White, how much longer do we have to go? Old Zhao exclaimed. Damn the mystic realm's rules. Why do we have to walk in order to receive the task? My 2 old legs are about to break from walking so much. Master, we're almost there, the white bear consoled. Did you hear anything? Lung Ruoxua asked cautiously. No. Fengda and the others shook their heads. Was their young lady a little too nervous? Grandpa, didn't you hear it either? Lung Ruoxua asked in puzzlement. Swear, don't be nervous, Lung Qingtian quickly comforted. With their strength, they didn't need to be afraid even if there was danger. Unwilling to give up, Lung Ruoxua looked around for the source of the sound, but found nothing abnormal. Suddenly, she looked up unintentionally and saw thick snow falling from the mountain like a waterfall. Everyone, be careful. It's an avalanche. Lung Ruoxua hurriedly shouted. Heavens! What a huge avalanche! Fengda almost fainted from fright when he saw it. He quickly summoned Huaao and flew away with him. The others also summoned their spirit beasts and left the center of the avalanche with them. After the avalanche ended, everyone slowly descended. Thank goodness the last discovered it in time. Otherwise, my life would have been lost here. Old Zhao said with lingering fear. Is everyone okay? Lung Ruoxua asked with concern. Although they were all spiritualists, they were helpless against this natural phenomenon. We're okay. Let's continue on our way. Lung Qingtian said. Okay. Lung Ruoxua nodded, and the group continued forward. Master. Suddenly, Thunder Knight's exclamation came from behind. Grandpa. Lung Ruoxua quickly turned her head, only to see the patch of snow where Lung Qingtian was standing collapsed. She watched as her grandfather fell down. Seeing his master fall, Thunder Knight also flew down. Grandpa! Lung Ruoxua ran to the edge of the broken snow cliff and was about to go down to save her grandfather when Lung Ruhan stopped her. Swear, don't worry. Grandpa will be fine. Thunder Knight has already gone down. Moreover, Ink Thunder is with him, Lung Ruhan comforted. He didn't want his grandfather not to see Swear when he came up. Wouldn't his grandfather be even more worried then? Okay, then let's wait for a while. Lung Ruoxua calmed herself down. Alas, I'm indeed too worried. Half an hour later, Thunder Knight flew up. Where's Grandpa? Lung Ruoxua quickly asked. There was nothing on Thunder Knight's back. Was Ink Thunder the one carrying her grandfather? I'm sorry, Mississippi. I didn't find Master. Thunder Knight felt a little guilty. It was all his fault for not protecting his master. Thunder Knight, don't cry. Grandpa will be fine. Lung Ruoxue comforted him when she saw him crying in self-reproach. Yes, that old man has always been very lucky. He might have a fortuitous encounter, so you don't have to worry, Lin Liang said to console them, but he kept praying in his heart. Old Lung, you better appear quickly. Don't let us worry. Big White, do you know what's below? Lung Ruoxue looked down, but it was like a bottomless pit. Chapter 292. Encounter in the Snow Mountain 4. I'm not sure, but that snake might know. It's more familiar with the terrain here than me. The big white bear said embarrassedly. Schwer, what should we do now? Freak asked. Wait here. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. She was still very confident in her grandfather's strength. Lass, isn't this place very close to the snake's territory? Why don't we split up? You go look for the snake, and I'll wait here for Old Lung, Old Zhao suggested. Old Zhao, finally, a good idea from you. But only your big white knows where the snake lives, so you should go find that snake with little girl. I'll wait here, Old Man said. Big brother, what do you think? Lung Ruoxue asked for Lung Ruhan's opinion. Schwer, I'll also stay and wait for Grandpa. Go find that snake. Lung Ruhan said after thinking. As long as Thunder Knight was still alive, it meant that their grandfather's life was not in danger, so all they could do now was wait. Big brother, be careful. Lung Ruoxue was still a little worried, but she also knew that this was the best choice. Moreover, she hoped that the snake would know the situation below. Be careful, Lung Ruhan reminded worriedly. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Lung Ruoxue and the others went to find the local snake, leaving Old Man and Lung Ruhan. Butterfly, what do you know about this snow mountain? Lung Ruoxue asked Butterfly on the way. Didn't this little thing say that mountain ranges were pretty good? But even though this place looked like a mountain range from the outside, it was a genuine snow mountain inside. Moreover, apart from the thick snow inside, she had only seen a bear so far. Girl, I'm so sorry. I've never heard of this snow mountain, Butterfly said guiltily. Ooh. It's so embarrassing that a dignified envoy of the mystic realm like me doesn't know. Oh, it's okay. I'll find out the secret of this snow mountain myself, Lung Ruoxue comforted. Do you see the palace in front? That's where the snake lives, Big White suddenly said. Upon hearing this, everyone looked toward the palace in unison. The opulence of the palace left them flabbergasted. Didn't snakes like dark and damp places? Why was this snake's residence more luxurious than an imperial palace? Was this really the snake's residence? Everyone was puzzled. Did they come to the wrong place? Big White. Look at the place it lives. It's an entire palace for a divine beast. But why are you staying in a cave? Old Zhao really couldn't understand how the difference in the lives of beasts could be so tremendous. Master, that snake is good at enjoying itself. Moreover, it's stronger than me, so almost all the beasts on the snow mountain are its subordinates. On the other hand, I spend most of my time sleeping. Big White scratched his head in embarrassment. Bears didn't really care about quality of life. They just needed to eat and sleep. Big White, what kind of snake is it? Lung Ruoxue was curious about the snake who loved to enjoy life. It seems like a snow python, Big White said after some thought. What do you mean by seems? Are you not sure? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Well, that snake is different from ordinary snow pythons. It might have mutated, Big White explained. A mutated snake? Lung Ruoxue pondered and decided to identify it herself. While chatting, everyone arrived in front of the dazzling palace. Endless abyss? Lung Ruoxue looked at the large and majestic palace with these large golden words written on it, and the puzzlement in her heart deepened. That snake actually called its home the Endless Abyss? This was too strange. Schwer, let's go in. Freak looked at the open doors of the palace. Okay, let's go in. Be careful, everyone. Lung Ruoxue nodded and led the way in. At this time, in a dark and gloomy cell, a black dragon was guarding his master anxiously. His master was the missing Lung Qingtian, and he was unconscious. Master, you're awake? Ink Thunder hurriedly asked anxiously when he sensed his master seemed to be showing signs of waking up. Ink Thunder, where is this? Lung Qingtian opened his eyes slowly, his face full of question marks. Master, I don't know either. After the spot you were standing on collapsed, we were brought here by a strong ray of light before I could save you. Ink Thunder explained guiltily, his face full of self-reproach. Hee, Ink Thunder, this isn't your fault. It was all an accident. Lung Qingtian smiled and comforted him while looking around. The area here was rather spacious, and if he was not mistaken, it should be a cell. But this cell was far more bloody than the ones he had seen before. Moreover, other than Ink Thunder and him, there were only the eerie white bones piled in the corner of the large cell. The entire cell was surrounded by impenetrable walls like iron arms, and the only light came from a skylight on the top of the cell. Master, what should we do now? Ink Thunder asked, a little lost. Of course, we have to think of a way to get out of here. Otherwise, Schwer and the others will be worried, Lung Qingtian said anxiously. But there seems to be no other exit apart from that skylight. Ink Thunder looked up. Ink Thunder, take me up there to see if I can break that window, Lung Qingtian said. Okay, Master, quickly get on me, Ink Thunder said. Ooh. Master has woken up. I feel more confident. After Lung Qingtian sat on Ink Thunder's back, he spread his huge wings and flew toward the skylight. This window is so big. After flying closer, Lung Qingtian realized that the window looked like a little white dot from below but was actually about the same size as Ink Thunder. Chapter 293. Endless Abyss Sowing Discord 1. Ink Thunder, fly back a little. I want to break this window, Lung Qingtian said to Ink Thunder after recovering from his shock. Yes, Master. Ink Thunder flew back. Lung Qingtian gathered his spiritual power in his palm. After forming a spiritual power sphere, he hurled it toward the window. Huh. How is this possible? Lung Qingtian was dumbfounded. The sphere he just released was enough to injure a spiritual supremacy, but there was no trace on the window. Master, I'll try. Ink Thunder immediately launched an attack, but the window remained intact. Ink Thunder refused to believe this. He directly used his enormous and strong body to slam into the window, again and again. But not even a crack was left on the window. Ink Thunder, stop. With a helpless expression on his face, Lung Qingtian stopped Ink Thunder from hurting himself. Master, I'll try again, Ink Thunder said stubbornly. He was already very guilty for not saving his master in time, so he definitely couldn't let his master stay in this godforsaken place. Stop wasting your energy. Suddenly, a mocking voice sounded in their ears. Who is it? Come out. Stop pretending to be mysterious. Lung Qingtian shouted. But he had already guessed that it was likely the person who brought them here. As soon as Lung Qingtian finished speaking, he saw a flash in front of his eyes, and the place where both he and Ink Thunder were changed. This place was clearly a palace. No, it should be more luxurious than any imperial palace he had seen. The walls of the entire palace were inlaid with incomparably large night-luminescent pearls, and the pillars of the palace were full of crystals of unknown colors. Even the ground was paved with precious black jade. This is really too luxurious, Lung Qingtian exclaimed in his mind as he looked at the strange new environment. After looking around the hall, Lung Qingtian turned his gaze toward the tall dragon throne in the middle of the hall. A man in white was sitting on the tall silver dragon throne covered with gems of various colors, and looking at him with a smile that was not a smile. The man was incredibly handsome, and his temperament was noble and extraordinary. His beautiful silver eyes were bright, deep, and dazzling like crystals, as if they could suck people in. Moreover, his strength was unfathomable. Master, don't look at his eyes, Ink Thunder reminded. This man gave him a very strange feeling. Okay. Lung Qingtian quickly composed himself. Fortunately, Ink Thunder reminded him. He was almost sucked into those incomparably beautiful silver eyes just now. Who are you? Why did you capture me? Lung Qingtian asked the man. I'm not human, the man said with a faint smile. Are you a divine beast? Lung Qingtian guessed. I guess so, the man said nonchalantly. He didn't know what he was now. Why did you capture me? Lung Qingtian asked again, but he kept guessing in his heart. Could he be that snake? I didn't capture you. You fell into the abyss, and this happens to be my territory, so this is all fate. The man said like a charlatan. Alas, this is all fate. Then why did you bring me here now? Lung Qingtian asked in bewilderment. Would you believe me if I said that I just wanted to have a chat with you? The man asked. I don't believe you. Lung Qingtian said honestly. Would he put him in a cell if he wanted to chat with him? How could he treat his guests like this? But I really just want to have a chat with you. You can call me Confound. The man said sincerely. Chat? I've never seen a host who locked guests in a cell. Lung Qingtian said mockingly. Who would believe him? Didn't you come out now? Besides, I didn't lock you in. You fell into it by yourselves. Confound tried to shift the blame. His handsome face had the words "none of my business" written all over it. Coincidentally, you fell into a cell. Confound added. Ah. Lung Qingtian was speechless. So it was all their bad luck. What do you want to talk about? Lung Qingtian suddenly changed the topic. Let's talk about your family. Confound said after some thought. He was very interested in these people. Family. Lung Qingtian immediately became alert when he heard about his family. What exactly did this divine beast want? If he dared to hurt his grandchildren, he wouldn't let him go even if he had to risk his life. Your family doesn't seem to care about you. You've been here for so long, but no one has come down to look for you. In the desert, an outsider fell into the labyrinth, and your most beloved granddaughter immediately went down to look for him. But you, her biological grandfather, fell into the abyss, and your grandchildren, as well as your friends, actually didn't come down. It seems that you don't have a place in their hearts? Confound said with pity. That's because they believe in my strength and wouldn't be worried about me. Lung Qingtian said nonchalantly. Trying to sow discord? Dream on. He was a spiritual supremacy and had a divine beast by his side. Therefore, even if he was separated from them, his life wouldn't be in danger. But it had been different for Hu Bin. His life would be gone if he was alone and really encountered danger. You really trust them. But take a look at this. After seeing it, you will know what your status is in their hearts. Confound said with a chuckle. Take a look at what? Lung Qingtian was puzzled. What is this divine beast up to? While Lung Qingtian pondered, a light screen appeared in front of him. The figures on the screen were Lung Ruoxue and the others. After a long time, the light screen disappeared, and Lung Qingtian stood there foolishly. Master, master. Ink Thunder called out softly in Lung Qingshan's ears. But Lung Qingtian didn't seem to hear him, and didn't react at all. Seeing this situation, he couldn't help spinning around anxiously. Chapter 294. Endless Abyss Sowing Discord 2. Damn it! What did you do to my master? Ink Thunder's eyes widened in anger as he glared at the handsome man high above. I didn't do anything. I just wanted him to see the truth, Confound said innocently. Nonsense. Do you think I will believe you? My master wouldn't be like this if you didn't do anything funny. Ink Thunder roared angrily. I can't believe that no one believes me when I tell the truth. I'm so sad, Confound said aggrievedly. Who would believe you? Ink Thunder roared and pounced directly at the annoying man. Confound easily dodged Ink Thunder's attack and said honestly, Little Black Dragon, you are not my match. You can try. Ink Thunder spat out his dragon breath after roaring. Confound jumped off the silver dragon throne and leaped into the air. The scorching dragon breath sprayed directly onto the throne, burning a black hole into it. Little Black Dragon, you have to compensate for ruining my chair, Confound kindly reminded. Oh, not bad. I can finally get a new chair. Compensate your head. You've messed up my master. Compensate me with my master first. Although Ink Thunder was big, his reaction was surprisingly fast. Moreover, he had been influenced by Lung Ruoxue and the others during this period. You were marked by the company you kept. So of course he followed suit. Ink Thunder, stop, said Lung Qingtian, already clear-headed. He was very touched by Ink Thunder's protection, but Ink Thunder was not this man's match at all. Fortunately, this man didn't attack and only kept dodging. Otherwise, Ink Thunder would probably have stuffed injuries. Master, you're awake. Great. Ink Thunder said happily, and quickly returned to Lung Qingshan's side. Confound, although I don't know what you're up to, what I want to say is that I believe my grandchildren and my old friends will never abandon me. Lung Qingtian said confidently. Even though you saw it with your own eyes and heard what they said with your own ears? Confound asked. But he was shocked because he never dreamed that Lung Qingtian would wake up from his illusion so quickly. It was really unexpected. Ha, that was just an illusion. We went through life and death situations together. How could they treat me like that? Lung Qingtian smiled confidently. Just now, he had fallen into the illusion, and almost half of his life's experiences had replayed in front of his eyes. Moreover, he even heard with his own ears that he had been abandoned by his relatives and friends. But it was precisely because he heard these words that he was able to wake up from the illusion in an extremely short period of time. He had enough trust in his relatives and friends to know that that was impossible, so he really should thank Confound properly for helping him. It seems that I have really underestimated you, Confound said with slight admiration. But he didn't believe that the feelings between humans were really so firm and invulnerable. Confound, what exactly do you want? Lung Qingtian asked again. I'm testing humanity. Humans are the least trustworthy and the most lazy among all life. I have seen many humans betray their companions, and even kill each other for their own benefits. Confound seemed to be lost in his memories, and his face was full of pain. It's inevitable that there are such things in life. Do you dare to say that every spirit beast is upright and clean, and that the hands of spirit beasts have never been stained with the blood of their own kind? Lung Qingtian asked in return. Black sheeps existed everywhere. Did this man deny everyone because of the existence of a few black sheep? That was a little too extreme. How can humans be compared to spirit beasts? Spirit beasts only have instincts. Confound emphasized. Since spirit beasts were beasts, they naturally had beast instincts. But humans were different. Humans had always boasted of being noble, but some people specially did things that were worse than beasts. Confound. You are too extreme. How can there be no black sheep? You can't deny the entire soup just because of a piece of rat feces. You can throw away the contaminated soup, but the rest of the soup is still good. Lung Qingtian explained earnestly. He didn't know what the divine beast in front of him had experienced, but he could more or less guess that this man must have encountered some heartbreaking things. Perhaps. But you still have to pass my test. Otherwise, you can't leave this place, Confound reminded after calming down. Do you mean that the Snow Mountain task is with you? Lung Qingtian asked with uncertainty. Yes, I am the gatekeeper here. As for the bear, he's just decoration. He doesn't know anything. However, it won't be easy to pass my level, Confound explained. By the way, your precious granddaughter is here too, Confound added. You're not allowed to hurt them, Lung Qingtian said anxiously. That will depend on whether they can pass my test. Confound smiled faintly. Why don't you take a look at them yourself? Confound said. Another light screen appeared in front of Lung Qingtian. On the other side, after Lung Ruoxia and the others entered the palace, they found that the entire palace was empty, except for a luminous pearl used for illumination on the ceiling of the palace hall. There was not even a single piece of decoration on the walls, not to mention the shadow of humans or beasts. Miss, why is this place so simple? Fonda thought for a long time before coming up with this word. The palace was so luxurious from the outside, but why did it seem so unworthy inside? It was really disappointing. That's right. Isn't it just for show? Lin Yuan said. Be careful, Lung Ruoxia reminded. After entering the snow mountain, Fonda and the others didn't stay in the bracelet apart from sleeping, because she wanted them to train. Okay, we will be careful, Fonda promised. Although Big White was leading the way, he also said that the snake would not give him any face. So they still had to rely on themselves at critical moments. Chapter 295, Endless Abyss, Sowing Discord 3. This place seems a little different from the last time I was here, Big White suddenly said. What's different? Lung Ruoxua asked cautiously. For some reason, she had a strange feeling after entering the palace, as though something here was waiting for her. Thinking back carefully, Big White said, Last time I was here, there were a lot of guards and a lot of shiny things hanging on the walls. When was the last time you came? Fonda asked curiously. 3,000 years ago, Big White said with certainty after some calculation. Plop. Fonda fell to the ground on all fours exaggeratedly, and there were several black lines hanging on his forehead. 3,000 years ago. My mother. Isn't that too long? 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxia's forehead as she said to smooth things over. I think that snake might have lost all its money, so it had to sell everything. What Schwer says is very reasonable, Freak agreed very much. Schwen's words are always right. Everyone present didn't comment on the nature of the wife-slave. They only looked at Lung Ruoxua as though asking her what to do now. Big White, are you sure that snake still lives here? Lung Ruoxua asked after some thought. It should be here. I didn't hear that it moved. Big White scratched his head awkwardly. Ruoxua, let's go in and take a look since we're already here. Lin Liang suggested. There were only 2 divine beasts in this snow mountain. It would save them a lot of trouble if the snake knew the whereabouts of Old Lung. After all, Old Lung's spirit beast had already gone to the bottom of the abyss to look for him, but found nothing. Yes, Grandpa Lin is right. We're already here. So how can we do nothing? Let's go in and look. Lung Ruoxua agreed. Grandpa Lin, Patriarch Feng, First Elder, the 3 of you will be at the back. I, Freak, and Old Zao will be in front. Everyone else will walk in the middle. Lung Ruoxua rearranged the formation. After settling everything, Lung Ruoxua and Freak walked side by side on the only path in the palace hall. Schwer, how long do we have to go this way? Freak couldn't help asking after walking for a long time. Even though there was only one path in the hall, this path was full of twists and turns. They went around and around but still didn't find the end. There was not even a shadow on the path, so they didn't even have the chance to ask someone for directions. I don't know either, but it's obvious we haven't finished walking this path, Lung Ruoxua said in realization. She couldn't help sighing. Alas! As expected of a snake's residence, this path is really long. Last, Big White said we'll reach after 2 turns. Old Zao interjected. Oh, let's go slowly, Lung Ruoxua replied. After walking for a long time, Lung Ruoxua and the others finally found that there was no path ahead. At the end of the path, Lung Ruoxua and Freak faced a room. They looked at each other, pushed the door open, and walked straight in. Feng Moran and the others followed closely behind. Lung Ruoxua looked around at the similarly empty room and asked in bewilderment. Big White, does that snake live in this room? Big White tried his best to recall. That's right. I saw it here previously. Did it really move away? Freak guessed. Big White, are there any other rooms here? Lung Ruoxua asked thoughtfully. I don't know. I've only been here once, Big White said apologetically. Lung Ruoxua nodded slightly, and then carefully observed the entire room, looking for clues. She refused to believe that there was only one room in such a large palace. Could there be some secret here? Lung Ruoxua examined it more carefully after thinking of this possibility. In another room in the palace. Hee, your granddaughter is quite attentive, Confound praised. This Lung Ruoxua is a bit interesting. Perhaps she can really change my opinion of humans. Of course. My grandchildren are my pride. Whenever his 2 outstanding grandchildren were mentioned, Lung Qingtian was so excited that his tail would rise to the sky. Of course, that was under the premise that he had a tail. Don't be so happy too soon. Their lives will be in danger unless they can pass my test, Confound reminded. I have confidence in them, Lung Qingtian said confidently. Is that so? Oh, wait and see then. Confound stopped talking and focused on Lung Ruoxua and the others. Lung Ruoxua and the others, who were carefully inspecting every corner of the room, had no idea that someone was monitoring their every move. Miss, there's nothing unusual, Fengda reported after checking once. Take a closer look. I have a nagging feeling that something is amiss here. Lung Ruoxue instructed. Yes. Lin Yuan approached Lung Ruoxue and suggested. Miss, let's dig out all the night luminescent pearls on the path when we leave later. We can't make a wasted trip, right? Why are you such a money grubber? Did I starve you? Lung Ruoxue frowned and scolded him jokingly. But this idea was not bad. There were so many night luminescent pearls that it would be good to bring them back for illumination, lest they went to waste. When a certain someone in the dark heard what Lin Yuan said, he was so angry that his face turned green. Lin Yuan, Lin Yuan. Lung Ruoxue called out twice after feeling that something was amiss since he didn't reply to her for a long time. But Lin Yuan didn't have any response and just stood motionless on the spot. Moreover, his eyes were becoming more and more unfocused. Swear, look at them. Freak pointed at Fengda and the others. Upon hearing this, Lung Ruoxue turned her gaze to Fengda and the others, only to find that everyone was exactly the same as Lin Yuan except for her and Freak. Chapter 296. Ruins of the Plain 1. Freak, they must have fallen into an illusion spell. Let's be careful. Lung Ruoxue frowned. Outsiders couldn't help those who fell into an illusion. They could only rely on themselves, and had to rely on their own strength to escape from the illusion. Otherwise, they would die in the illusion. This was the terror of illusions. But Freak did not answer her. Lung Ruoxue turned her head doubtfully, and found that Freak had also fallen into an illusion. At this moment, scene slowly appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue's eyes. Lung Ruoxue was like a bystander watching everything she had experienced play out in front of her eyes. Her relationship with Freak was so realistic that even she almost believed it. Swear I love you. Freak said with incomparable affection. I love you too. Lung Ruoxue said perfunctorily. Then a sword appeared in her hand, and spiritual power gathered on the blade. Then she swiftly stabbed Freak. Unprepared, Freak was in no rush to dodge, and the sword slid into his abdomen. His eyes widened as he looked at Lung Ruoxue in disbelief. Swear, why are you killing me? Because you are not Freak. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently, the expression on her face even colder than ice. How dare you transform into Freak to deceive me? Unforgivable. Swear, did you fall in love with someone else? Clearly you're Freak. How can you treat me like this? Freak yelled, unwilling to give up. Although you tried your best to imitate the expressions and tone of Freak, a fake is a fake. Moreover, this young lady wasn't affected by the illusion at all, so don't you think you deserve to die? Lung Ruoxue explained very kindly. No, how is this possible? The fake Freak looked extremely surprised. How could she not? Because your illusion level is too low. You can't confuse me at all, understand? Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of contempt. Too low. Impossible. The fake Freak roared in disbelief. Die. Lung Ruoxue said impatiently. She directly released Feather of the Fire Phoenix and instantly obliterated the fake Freak. The hall returned to quietness in front of Lung Ruoxue. She looked at the people still immersed in the illusion. To be honest, she was not too worried about her subordinates in the mercenary group. After all, they had all undergone the test of her heart-refining illusionary formation. But old Zhao and the others made her a little worried. Swear, Freak called softly as he came to Lung Ruoxue's side. You're awake. Lung Ruoxue glanced at Freak, and then turned her gaze to the others. Yes, Swear. You don't even care about me. I was under an illusion spell just now. Freak hugged Lung Ruoxue's slender waist and placed his head on her fragrant shoulder, acting coquettishly. That's because I have confidence in you. Lung Ruoxue coaxed. She knew that Freak was hiding things from her. But if he didn't take the initiative to tell her, she wouldn't probe further. This was called mutual trust. Yep. Swear, do you know what I saw in the illusion? Freak smirked. Of course you saw me because I also saw you in the illusion, Lung Ruoxue said. Illusions love to use important people or things to confuse the people in the illusion. Swear, you weren't even wearing clothes in the illusion. Freak said with a look of yearning. Oh, and then. Lung Ruoxua asked lightly. But I killed her. Freak said with pity. Alas. How good would that be? But that's impossible. Well done. Come, I'll give you a reward. Lung Ruoxua turned her head and kissed Freak's enchanting lips gently. Swear, how can one be enough? Freak said with dissatisfaction, his black and shiny eyes full of anticipation. Be good. They're not awake yet. Lung Ruoxua said with a slight headache. This damn freak, shouldn't he take a look at where we are? Even though I was the one who started it. Swear, let's kiss after we leave this place. Freak said understandingly. Swear. Feng Moran, who had just woken up, glanced at Lung Ruoxua awkwardly. He didn't mean to eavesdrop. He just woke up and heard Yi Chen's words. Big brother Feng, how do you feel? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. After going through the test of an illusion again, Big brother Feng should feel something different again, right? Still okay, Feng Moran said, still a little uncomfortable. Miss. At this moment, the mercenaries woke up one by one. Swear, why aren't Grandpa and the others awake yet? Will something happen? Feng Moran's handsome face was full of worry. If it's their first time experiencing an illusion, it will probably take a long time. Moreover, no one can help them. They are the only ones who can free themselves from the illusion. Lung Ruoxua explained to Feng Moran. Then what should we do now? Feng Moran asked. Big brother Feng, all we can do now is wait. Lung Ruoxua was helpless against the illusion. Old Zao woke up while they were talking and asked in bewilderment. Lass, what happened to me? You were under an illusion spell, Lung Ruoxua explained simply. I didn't expect to see an illusion spell today. Old Zao murmured. He had heard his master mention illusion spells before, but they seemed to have been lost a long time ago, so he had never had the chance to see one. Feels good, doesn't it? Lung Ruoxua teased. Not good at all. Old Zao said evasively. That damn illusion actually made me see Master punishing me again. Ooh. Haha. Lung Ruoxua couldn't resist laughing when she saw old Zao's fearful expression. About half an hour later, everyone under the illusion spell woke up. You really exceeded my expectations. At this moment, a slightly deep voice resounded in everyone's ears. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.